Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Variety Talk Show series. We've got a very special guest joining us. I'm very honored to welcome Barbara J. Garshman to the show. Five-time Emmy-nominated television producer, writer, author. She's the author of this riveting new book, You Can't Stop Me. Also, she penned a phenomenal play, Afterburn. We'll discuss that as well. And she's been a part of some of your favorite television shows, including those of you who love the soap operas. Guiding Light, she was supervising producer for a number of years, Emmy nominated for The Guiding Light on CBS. Also, a writer for Another World. We know that well. Mac and Rachel, the Coreys. Days of Our Lives as well, and many, many more shows because she was director of primetime development East Coast for the NBC television network. That's right, for a number of years, seeking out and finding some of those great television shows and dramas and comedies and miniseries and so much more. She was in charge of that department, which was a significant role to have. She also a writer for the ABC television network as well on some of your favorite shows. And this is the book that we're talking about, which is absolutely riveting and absolutely incredible. This is You Can't Stop Me, from sharecropper's daughter to chief of police, the story by Barbara J. Garshman. It's the compelling story of how Vickie M. McNeil rose from picking cotton as a young Black girl to making history in 1978 as the first female police officer in her hometown of Canton, Mississippi. No one wanted her. Male officers wouldn't partner with her or teach her literally anything. And they sent her, man with a gun calls without backup, hoping she'd be killed. And that was just during the first week. And Vickie was smart and talented and couldn't be bought. The descendants of slave-owning plantation families who controlled the Canton Board of Aldermen and the police department, they wanted her stopped, and they did everything in their power to get rid of her, but she never quit. The Black citizens of her town needed her. She had become a symbol for women and what they could accomplish. She believed she could make a real difference. How could she walk away and live with herself? Over the coming decades, she became used to challenges and hard times, overcoming seemingly insurmountable obstacles, including several harassment and discrimination, death sentences, death threats, and the betrayal of the Justice Department of the United States. It's a real story of triumph. For those, I have the book here. I've read it. It's absolutely incredible. People have been talking about it. She's been working on this, I believe, since 1997. So it's been a labor of love for her. It's a story of triumph over adversity and victory over despair and history-making achievements. You Can't Stop Me recalls what she did, the way she did it, and the woman, mother, and police officer she became along the way, which absolutely is an amazing story. And Barbara is going to be joining us in just a second here on the Jim Masters Show Live. We're showing you the cover of the book so you can make sure you run out and get it. Of course, you can get it online as well. We welcome everybody to the Jim Masters Show Live. There you are. And hello. It's good to see everybody. Hope you guys are doing well. It is a really nice day here today. It's about 70 degrees, which is nice. 70 degrees and mostly sunny. And we're having a good day today. We welcome everybody. If this is your first time watching the Jim Masters Show Live, this is our entertainment lifestyle variety talk show series where we are bringing back the lost art of conversation. Now, would you like to chat right now in our JMS chat room? You can. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel, which we absolutely love, and we hope you do that because that really helps us out here as well. We've done, I can't believe it. I was just talking to Barbara, as we were getting prepared for today's show. We have done about almost 700 episodes of our entertainment lifestyle variety talk show series, which is extraordinary, with guests coming in from Broadway and Hollywood, television, film, music, stage, culinary arts, sports. We do it like an old school variety talk show series, entertainment variety talk show series. Think like Dick Cavett and Merv Griffin, Mike Douglas, Regis, Johnny Carson, with a modern vibe and a modern twist of today. And it's just been a real blessing. Thanks to all of you who have been watching and supporting and sharing the links, telling us about how much this series means to you. You've written some beautiful notes to us via Instagram, Twitter, as well as Facebook messages, emails, telling us how this show has gotten you through the pandemic. We don't want to say that too loud because YouTube goes crazy when you say that word, but it's gotten you through. It's made you feel good about life. It's uplifted you, this show. And we thank you for that. Many of you know I work in television and radio professionally, and I have for a good long time on the air as well as behind the scenes, and host a lot of different shows. So I'm excited about having Barbara on too, about this incredible book, but the fact that she's been involved in the television world in significant roles for such a long time. And I'm really excited about that. So we say hello to the JMS Loverty family. Again, if you would like to chat in our chat room, just subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's no cost for that. It's just hit that red button you see right there on the channel. That lets us know you enjoy all this content, all these episodes, day in and day out. In just 2 years, some 700 episodes. I mean, that takes some TV series sometimes 10 years to get to 500 episodes. So we've done 700 in 2 years. And we have 2 shows today. Just to let you know, a little programming note, we have 2 shows today. We also have Melissa Manchester joining us tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. For those of you who are watching live, we're excited about that. We also have Kayleen Peoples, who's joining us. She was former Miss California, acclaimed vocalist, musician, and composer. And coming up on Tuesday, Tony Orlando is joining us. We're looking forward to that. And on Wednesday, John Davidson is making a return visit to the Jim Masters Show live. So those are coming up for those that are watching live. And for those of you who are watching this later on, you can see those episodes right here on our YouTube channel. So again, if you would like to comment, we would love it if you do that. Just hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to also, at the same time, give this episode and all the episodes you enjoy. You can binge watch all the great guests and all the episodes on our YouTube channel. Give it a like and leave a comment on our YouTube channel as well. Thanks for all the great comments. If you want to comment live in the JMS chat room, just subscribe to our YouTube channel and Jim Masters TV. And that's a special gift for all of our subscribers. That's right. And I don't know why they use the word subscribe, because then you think you have to spend money, but that is a free thing when you click that red button. So good to have everybody here. Hope you're doing well. And we're on earlier today for our very special guest, Barbara J. Garshman, again, 5-time Emmy nominated TV producer, writer, and author. And she joins us live and direct from her lovely home in New York. We're so excited to have her here. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day wherever you're watching from around the world, gang. It's always a pleasure to have you here. And join me in welcoming Barbara to the Jim Masters Show live. Barbara, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here, or to be in the computer, wherever I am.
You're international now.
Right.
This is a bit of a role reversal for you, because, you know, it's not something where you're traditionally interviewed, you were saying, because you've worked, you know, you're creating the art for everybody else, you know, and it's a little bit of a different switch for you, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And I'm nervous. So I just tell everybody I'm a little nervous, but I'm really happy to be here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. And what I think is so nice too, and we were chatting about it before we went live, is not only are you now one of our Loverty guests, and we say Loverty because the show, I said 2 years ago, I said the show has a lot of light, love, and levity, and then I said it a little too fast, and out came the word Loverty. And then the audience said, we're your Loverty squad. You're Mr. Loverty. This is Loverty Hall, and the guests are part of the Loverty family. So now that you're,
love Loverty.
I was going to say there's Emmys, Grammys, Oscars, Peabodys, Tellys, Tonys,
and Loverties.
But when you're a Loverty on the Jim Masters Show, which you are now, and the audience is already posting that you are, how does it make you feel? Are your feet tingling?
And I have feet. I actually have feet. It's like, I have a whole body.
You have a whole
I'm
body.
real. I'm real. After I just saw a very good friend of yours and mine, David Friedman, who I
Oh,
hadn't seen
yes.
in person. I spoke to him all the time, and I hadn't seen him in person, and I saw him for the first time in 3.5 years, and he actually has a body below the waist, and it's like he's a human being. So it was.
Yes. Yes. Well, I do too, but if I wasn't wired up here, I would show you. So take my word for it. It's so nice to have you here. And again, yes, David and Sean, mutual friends of ours as well, which I think is always a beautiful thing. And they're terrific, terrific people, so spirited, and they're so creative and passionate as well. And you've been also a Levity viewer. You've been watching the Jim Masters show live as well, which I really appreciate, Barbara.
Well, what I'd like to say I want to thank my friends and family who are watching today. And and all the strangers from around the world that I don't know. And I want to tell you all, please subscribe to this show. I want you to do that. You can do me a favor by doing that.
I appreciate that. That's so kind of you. And I think you watched several episodes, but one of the recent ones I think you said was when Lucy Arnaz was a guest on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Isn't she wonderful?
Oh, she's fabulous. She's fabulous.
Yeah, she was a delight. And gang, if you missed that episode with Lucy Arnaz, check that out. We archive all the episodes of our extensive series right here on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. How have you been? First, before we talk about, the book and this elaborate and fabulous career in television and more, it's been a crazy time the last couple of years, and we've all been learning. There's been a lot of teachable moments. I keep saying I hope that we see more kindness and empathy and more collaboration, and we come together more in life through everything that we've learned. As horrific as it's been, what we've been experiencing, also there's been some poignant moments and rise to the occasion moments, and a number of people have risen to the occasion to help one another and to guide and inspire, which I love to do as well. And I know you love to do that too, Barbara. What are some things you've learned along the way through the last couple of years and the craziness of it all?
I've learned that I don't like being so alone. And, this thing has kept us from each other. It's kept us from a lot of our dreams. It's kept us from activity. So I'm glad that there is at least this way to talk with people. It's been a very difficult time. I think it's a learning time for the universe. And there's a lot of lessons, and not everybody is coming through the way we would like them to come through. But I think in the end, hopefully, we're all going to get to a better place as we go through this. But it's a tough time.
Yes, it is, isn't it? On many different levels, it's been really an interesting time. Anything you've learned about yourself? I mean, there's obviously been this time to reflect and to pause, and a lot of people have been rebooting. Some have been reinventing themselves, going in different directions. I mean, totally leaving the job that they had before and starting something fresh. People have been doing a whole host of different things. How about you? What are some things that you have learned?
Well,
I know a lot of people that are very busy and touring and out. They've all been like, I really need the money, but at the same time, it was so nice to spend time with my family. So nice to finish the book I wanted to write, or learn something, or go back and, do things in the house I didn't get a chance to do when I was so busy. How about for you?
Well, I think, first of all, for me, as a person who is, we're all growing older, God willing, unless we're not. But and being in the business that I've been in, the entertainment business, you have to constantly be thinking about redefining yourself, to find another place where you can go or be. And when I was in television, I loved my career. I loved what I did. But then that ended. And so I had to think of something else that I could do that would use my talents. And I ended up writing a play. And then now I'm writing a book. And so, I'm becoming a hyphenate, producer, writer, author, network executive. And I think that the time in COVID in particular has made me just be much more aware of how precious time is. I mean, we all know that, but we are really we've been stopped short in many cases. I mean, some people have gone on as if there was no COVID, but as an older person, I've had to be careful. I felt it was important for my health and to wear a mask and do all the right things. And I wish I was in Italy. I still would be on your show, but I wish that I was in Italy right now. I wish I was traveling. I wish I was. So what could I do if I can't move forward? So I've been doing, for this time for me, COVID has been a lot of introspection. To work on myself, to deal with my particular demons and my whatever, and it's almost like you're forced to. You've got yourself. You can't rush away from yourself in the same way. You can't go out to a party or go to a movie, or maybe more so a little now, but you're stuck with yourself. So are you going to take a look at yourself or not, hide from it still? So I've been taking a big look at myself. And I like some of what I see. There's some that I want to work on. And I feel I'm getting, as I heal, as I accept myself more and look back at what things used to be and look at who I am now and look at where I want to go, I'm getting more and more excited about what's the next step. How can I take this energy and this person that I am, and what am I going to do next? I'd love to make a movie of my book, that's for sure. I think it's perfect. Vickie and I, back in the day when we first started talking, when I told her that I wanted to do her life story, and she looked at me like I was crazy. Me? She said, who, me? I'm not important, but she is important. We would talk then about who, and that was a while ago. So the people that we thought might star in the movie are maybe getting a little too old now, but I have my list of actresses,
That is cool to do that, huh?
And people who have been reading the book are saying that to me. They're saying, "Oh, it's such a visual story. It would make such a great movie." So you never know.
Yes, I agree 110%. I think it absolutely would be. It's all set up for that in such a extraordinary way. It's amazing when you tell stories like this, how people are inspired and they learn so much about life and society in such a deep way, because you really go deep in the book. I want to talk about the book in just a second, because I really want to focus on the book, but I want to know what first brought you to television early on, as a wonderful writer and producer and so much more. What was it about the television business? What was the inspiration and some of those early opportunities that came your way that brought you into the world of television, Barbara?
I'm going to tell you a funny story. I think in general, and this is, I mentor a lot of young people, and I tell them that you can't be totally like, this is what I want to do, and I want to do it this way, and this is the only way. Because life, if you open up to life takes you in places that you would never have imagined, and usually where you need to go. So I decided, I've always been a writer. I used to write poetry and stories and things like that. So I decided, after I majored in psychology in college, because I want not to be a therapist, but because I loved knowing about what makes people tick.
Yes, me too.
Yes. So then I'm saying, I like to say hi to everybody who's saying hi.
All the loveties. You could just say hi, loveties, and they'll.
Hi, loveties. So I decided I wanted to go to graduate school in film. But I applied, I didn't realize I applied to the TV, the School of, it's film and / TV. And I applied to the TV program. And I didn't even know until I got there that I was in TV. So that
really?
was
So it wasn't something that you was focusing on. It just happened to be where you ended up.
Yes. And wow. And I loved it. I learned how to use all of the cameras, and I got hit on the head with a boom and got a concussion. I had some stories.
Oh, once you get hit in the head with a boom, you are officially in television. You are in television. Or if the teleprompter jams or something, you're in television.
So when I came back I decided I didn't like LA. No offense to people who live in LA, but I really didn't feel comfortable in LA. So I decided to come to New York. I had friends from college there. And then I started looking for, it didn't necessarily have to be television. It just worked out that way. I worked for a few different production companies. And then those things didn't, they worked for a while, then they didn't work, all kinds of challenges and strange, funny stories. But anyway, I finally, they were interviewing for someone at NBC, and night primetime. And it was something called In Development. I didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
I went in for the interview. The woman who was the director of Primetime Development East Coast for NBC, Ellen Timberman, interviewed me, and she said, I'll teach you everything I know, but you have to be a secretary, because that's the only opening that we have, and I need a secretary. So if you do your secretarial work, and I had been through a number of jobs now where I was offended that they wanted me to be a secretary, but I had learned that that's what I had to do to get to the next step and to be the best secretary that I could possibly be, so that I would be valued, so that they would want me to do something else. So I said, sure. And she started teaching me about development, which is not money development, it's program development, how you look at an idea and how you look at a script and you see, what is the story here? And how do I talk with writers and tell them what works and what doesn't work?
Right.
And lo and behold, I happen to be brilliant at it. Truth. I had a facility for it. I didn't know.
Came naturally.
It came I mean, I don't know that it would have ever come out or developed if she hadn't been there to help me and say, okay, what's wrong with this script? No, you only can tell one sentence. What's wrong with this script? If you're going to speak to the head of programming, he's only got 1 minute for you. What are you going to tell him? And so she would help me, and she would help me not only see what was wrong, but how to convey it to the writer or the producer, like this works, but this doesn't work. And this is why. Most people in programming don't know how to do that. And more of them knew how to do it then, because we were all people who read books.
Yes.
We would make references to Balzac. Now now the people that are doing it are marketers.
It's all.
It's not the same business. So they don't
just
know
numbers now.
And they don't know. They think if something worked, all right, let's make 52 of those.
Yes. They do that sometimes also with the talent. Like you'll see if there's a talent that's hot, that talent will be hosting everything there is on TV or radio. And everybody else will be like, hey, there's more people available.
Well, that's because I'm sorry, I don't mean to be offensive, but I'm not saying there aren't some good executives, but most of the people who are dealing with programming are talentless. They don't know when they see an idea coming in, oh, that'll work. People are going to like that. They're not bad people. They're very good at certain things, but they don't have the instinct for it. And so that's why they say, all right, let's do 52 of that, because the audience obviously likes that talent.
Right.
And it's very sad because it limits the amount of talent and amount of discoveries of new product and new people. And that's why so many people are going to, thank God, there's the beginning of, being able to go to YouTube, being able to go get past the gatekeepers and be seen. It's still very hard, though, if you can't get to those 3 people that control everything.
To control everything. Well, even in the digital world. Yeah, exactly. When you were working in primetime development, East Coast for NBC, what was a typical day like for you? It was at 30 Rock. You were going into 30 Rock, Manhattan. What was that? That has to be, that has to be one of the most fantastic buildings to be in. Just whenever you go in there, I have several friends that work there too. It's like such a centralized, you really feel like you're in the center of the universe when you're in that building, just where it's located, just the history of being in that television network. It must have been exciting when you would walk in there to do your
It
thing.
was. It still is when I go there. I can't believe it's so long since I worked there. Rockefeller Plaza. It's beautiful. It's iconic buildings. That whole area.
Whole area, yeah.
And I had an office on the 4th floor that overlooked the skating rink. So I was the most popular person when they lit the Christmas tree, because my office looked out. So everyone would come into my office to view the lighting.
Boy, if you had charged $5 per person.
Yeah, if I had only known. I was so naive and stupid.
A viewing fee.
Right, a viewing fee.
See, in this day and age, with all this inflation, you could get away with that.
Absolutely.
Well, there's processing, and I got to pay for the lighting in the office, so.
Goodwill, just for my goodwill,
What was a typical day like for you?
A typical day would be
atypical.
Well, the thing is that development is not just meeting with people. It's not like that you're just the person who people come in and pitch to you.
Right.
That would happen during the day. People would come in and pitch, and we had stories. We had things you wouldn't even believe. We had Bill Cosby. I know.
Sure.
He was nice at the time.
Very popular show and series.
Right?
Yeah.
He came in and he had an idea for a sitcom that was all animals, and he acted out all the animal parts. It was very funny at the time, but we didn't do it, and thank God we didn't do it, actually. We had Secret Service people come in. We had spies come in. They would have, the little speakers and whatever, and they would tell us stories about nuclear submarine things and all kinds of things going on. People telling us stories about Henry Kissinger. We had all day long, we would have people. And so that would be the pitch, and they would tell, and then we would have to decide if we were interested or not. People would come in sometimes with just the story or acting out things like Bill. Or they would come in with a script, or they would come in. They would come in with different points of development themselves. They had just started. Right. We would have writers, and then we'd have writers and producers. We have years ago there was a show called Upstairs Downstairs. It was
Yes, yeah.
And Jean Marsh, who played the head of the Downstairs. I don't know if people remember her or whatever, but she came in with an idea. She had a story. She told funny anecdotes. So I would learn a lot of things too, because these people would share things that the average public didn't know about. So they would pitch the idea. We would talk to them about it. We would ask questions, and then we would have to decide whether we wanted to move forward with it or not. And so that's the beginning of the process. But my job then, if we decided to go ahead, be it that a script needed to be written, or the next step needed to be taken, usually we would start with a treatment or something. I worked with the writers on that, so I would be giving feedback on the script writing.
Now, were there also outside people, like, for example, were there outside producers, writers, companies that would be coming to NBC saying, we have an idea for this show. Can we have meetings with you guys, sit down and hash it all out and put it all together?
Absolutely.
You think of that long table with all the script paper and,
we didn't have
the ashtrays and the coffee.
The Hollywood writer's room, which exists now, didn't exist then. One person would write a script, or maybe two people or whatever. It wasn't 32 people. Right. 32 is my favorite number, so I don't know why, but you'll hear me
32
say it.
people at that long table.
Yeah, no, we didn't have that. Although, for example, Universal Television came to us and they said, we would like to do a thing. I don't know if they came to us or we went to them, but we had the idea to do miniseries. They had never been done before.
Right.
There was one that had been done.
Was it Roots?
Well, Roots, and then there was one after that on ABC. But the
Thornbirds or something.
Granted, that was afterwards. But the form had never been done before. It was a new idea. That's how old I am. Anyway, so they we made a deal with them that we would do 10, we call it the bestseller series. We would do 10 books, best-selling books, and turn them into miniseries of about 12 hours each. So this entailed, we had to figure out, our job first was to work with the writers and the producers from Universal, people under their aegis, different big producers and writers. And we had to figure out, how do you break up the book so that and how do you tell a 2-hour that then they're going to want to come back? So we would have to sometimes figure out the story, or not change the book, but change the story a little bit, to a cliffhanger, so that they would come back for the next 2 hours and the next 2 hours. And then I would be sent out to LA to oversee. All the filming was done out at Universal, or around there. And the miniseries were done at Universal. And I would go out there and I would be overseeing the filming and then look at the dailies. So I had input. I was the network representative, in addition to, and if I didn't like it,
you were going to see it.
I had a lot of power then. I was so young, I didn't even realize it.
There probably were several that, you probably were glad that you passed on. Now, if you pass on them, would they then go to CBS and ABC and try to pitch it there?
Well, in one case, so we also were involved in the casting. So we would have meetings that we would fly out to LA to speak with the Universal people or the different producers or whatever and decide on casting. And then I was involved in post-production. So every aspect from no one gets an opportunity like that. Now it's much more, no one is involved all the way through. It was an extraordinary
Isn't it terrific? Yes.
Yeah. And
all
I was
aspects.
so lucky.
Yeah.
I was so lucky. And I felt that I was part of something very important. The stories that we told, the books that we put onto television. I wept when I saw them on TV, that I was part of that. You know?
When you see it completed. I've had those things happen to me too, in work that I've done, documentary work where we're really telling a deep story about somebody that is incredible at what they do. I did it with an artist, and actually we went to Burbank, and it was for the television news program that I do in New York with co-host with Doug Llewellyn, a host of the People's Court I was telling you about. And I was sent out to Burbank to interview this woman, Alice Asmar, who's about 92 now, and she started drawing and painting when she was 5. Started with crayons and paper that her mother gave her on the floor, and a prolific, award-winning artist with her studio in her home. Husband passed years ago, never had children, alone in her home there in Burbank, and still creating exquisite art, and never really had the opportunity to tell her story. And when it's even reserved about celebrating. But when we went there, it became one of the most touching and warm. And because I'm a why person, I like to feel. The minute I walked into her home studio, I was feeling it. And I said, we've really got to celebrate this woman and tell her story deeply. And we won actually some awards, Telly Awards, other things for it, which was beautiful. But my God, and you'll understand this, the self-imposed intensity and stress and care that I put on myself before, during, and after, when it was all done, when most people say, we're done, next project, okay, what do we got to do next? I'm still feeling that one and this experience with this exquisite woman in her home, who led us into her home, into her world of creativity, and how she trusted us. Because she said that too. She says, I don't really trust everybody, and it has to be the right scenario. And we've become friends since. And sleepless nights, headaches, because I was so concerned about doing it right, doing it justice, And also, I mean, I was involved in every aspect, like you're saying, from the design of the graphics to the content, the full interview, assisting the camera crew with angles. I was there editing with the editor. I was also editing with him. I picked all the underscoring, all the music underneath. I needed to do that because I needed certain music to match what the
Right.
feeling was that I wanted to
You had
get
a great
across.
sense of responsibility towards her.
And some
And
of that comes automatically for me to understand the underscoring and what should sweep in now and what should. It's just because of having done all aspects of it. I felt exactly this tremendous responsibility to not just please her, but touch her and touch those who watch it, who now feel a connection to this exquisite woman who does all of this artwork.
that's how I feel about Vickie. That's why
Yes,
I have
that's
always felt
right.
such in her story. I felt that it was important, number one, because she was an extraordinary individual, and a woman's struggle and her triumph is something that could inspire anyone, but also because of all of the racist and systemic racism and all the other things that are part of it as well. I felt a responsibility towards her to get the story out, and also a responsibility to let people have her as an example. Yes, you can do it no matter how bad things get. You can do it. You can, even if you're scared, even if you have fall back, even if you fall down,
Yes.
you can ultimately succeed. And so it always has been very important to me that it be done right, like you're saying. And
Now, this book took you a number of years, I was saying in the introduction, huh?
Since 1997, to be exact. But a lot of that was deciding, speaking hours and hours. I have about 30 hours of tape on her.
Do you?
And also going to her trial and being in Mississippi and meeting some of the other people that are part of the book. And then the book evolving. It started out as a third person book story. And it wasn't something, it wasn't working somehow. And it was 4:00 in the morning. I couldn't sleep. I got up, I went to the computer, and all of a sudden I started writing in first person in her voice. And suddenly the book opened up, because I also, as Vickie, I started asking questions like, well, why did I go there in the room? And why did that person? And I ended up asking those questions to Vickie, who had to give me new information. With all the information that I had already, I now had more, and it totally enriched and broadened the scope and the extent of the story. And because
that's where the psychology part that you were talking about earlier sort of quietly comes into play. Your understanding of people, the human condition, wanting to understand her, the story, the other players involved, and almost living it. How for you, I've asked this question of actors and actresses as well, and other colleagues. When you're taking, and now I just talked a little bit about me doing that documentary and how I self-imposed this responsibility. And, when I saw it done after we did it, we too were in tears. It meant so much. And then when we found out that we were awarded for it and that other people felt, peers in our industry felt what it was that I wanted to get across in this, it just, it's like, okay, I'm going to go in the other room for a second. I'll be back. You're just really incredibly moved by it. How for you, when taking on a project like this, telling somebody's story, almost living it yourself, how do you how do you work through the depth of it, the intensity, so it doesn't overwhelm and consume you? Because, you obviously, when you get involved in projects, kind of like me, you're all in. You put a lot of yourself in it. You're investing a lot of Barbara in this other person's story, other person's experience.
Well, I'll tell you, it wasn't easy in the beginning to separate myself out, because although her circumstances were different, she and I had both experienced what it's like to be a woman who nobody wants to give the time of day to, and to have to fight for your place in the work, in the society, in whatever. So I identified with her. I identified with her struggle and her courage. And then when I saw the things that were happening to her, it actually wounded me. I had to find a way to pull back from what was happening to her, because I was useless. And what also happened too is she was constantly in jeopardy, and that's all in the book, which I'm not going to give it all away, but her life was in danger all the time. And it got to the point where I wasn't sure my life wasn't in danger. In fact, just bringing this book to be published, I have to tell you, on my end is it takes a great deal of courage, because a lot of the bad people in the book are still alive. They're powerful. And I don't know if there's going to be repercussions to me for doing this book and for telling the truth about what they did to her. But
did you have reservations in the beginning or during it?
I never had reservations about doing the book. I was insistent that this story be told. I'm a truth person, and I fought for a lot of things in my life, and I felt this was an important story, because this kind of stuff is still going on. The stuff that's going on in these not just little towns, but where power, on the surface, it looks like everything is okay.
And everybody's caring, and
underneath, it's like the duck, you don't realize in the water, the duck's feet are going like this, like this, like this. So there's so much.
What a great analogy.
still going on. And I feel that, so the story was relevant and timely when I started it, but it's almost, unfortunately, just as relevant, if not more so now, about police, and she's a good police officer, and there are good ones as well as troublesome ones, about racism, about being a woman. Unfortunately, these struggles are still going on. And so getting this story out became even more important to me. There were times I wanted to give up, like I would send it to an agent, a literary agent, and they would say the most ridiculous things like, well, she doesn't have boobs like Erin Brockovich. Like, hello, first of all, my scarf keeps falling. What? Erin Brockovich, I don't know if you remember, they did a movie.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
So first of all, how do we know? I never even mention in the book what size her breasts are. And yet that should be a reason to not. And this was a big agent at William Morris or something. And this is the kind of stupidity you run into with people who don't know what they're talking about, but wield a lot of power, because they are the agents, they are the producers, whatever. But, and I did want to stop sometimes. And I saw a friend of mine, I was visiting a friend in South Carolina, and I was complaining to her that this agent turned it down and that agent. And she said, oh, please, I don't want to hear about your complaining. She said, if 200 agents turn you down, then you can come and complain to me. I don't feel sorry for you. Do you want to be a writer? Do you want to do what it takes to be a writer? Because this is part of what it takes to be a writer. Yeah. She got me thinking, and I thought, wow, yeah, I'm gonna take it. I don't like it, but this is how you get. This is part of being a writer.
Part of it.
Turn me around, and I had very positive feedback from Melvin Van Peebles, who died recently, and he was a mentor of mine and an extraordinary director, producer, writer.
Yes.
And Vickie, who came to New York after her first trial, because I needed to get her out of Mississippi for a while. And she was feeling very bad about things that were happening. She was kind of overwhelmed. And I said, I want you to meet Melvin. So Melvin took us out, because Melvin had been through, as a Black man, he had to go to France to start to get successful before he could come back to America. He had been through everything and succeeded over and over. Yeah. And so we sat down with Melvin, and he was a character, and he put her on his lap, and he was talking to her, and we're drinking. And I said, Melvin, so here's the story. And he said, well, I wanted to make it into a movie. And he said, I don't think it should be a movie. He said, I think it has to be a book because I'm listening to you and there's so much story and there's so much I think you want to tell.
That you want to tell.
And I went, oh, Melvin, I don't want to write a book. Little did I know, I thought this is going to take a couple of years if I write a book. I didn't know it's going to take till 1997.
But because you really wanted to tell the story right, or it took that long to get the information, or what was the process for
there was so much, her life. I didn't feel at that point that I had learned so much about her. I guess I needed, it wasn't just for the story, but I needed to reveal all that I had learned and all that I knew, and then be able to sort through it. And when I did the first version, I showed it to him and he loved it. I mean, he said that you're a good writer. He said, and so even though I went through so many other transitions and challenges, the fact that someone that I respected so much, who was so brilliant and talented, thought that I was on the right track and that I was talented, I would recall that when I would start to get really discouraged. I think Melvin said that, and unfortunately I had just been ready. I was talking with Vickie and I was going to get in touch with Melvin to tell him the book had come out, and he had just died 2 days before. So,
oh boy.
I acknowledge him in my book, but I never got to I hope, Melvin, wherever you are, that you know that you helped me with this book and that I'm talking about you right now.
What was that writing process like for you? I would imagine quite intense. And there's days maybe you had to even step away from it a little bit and breathe, get some air, and then go back to it. What was that process? And what was the initial inspiration for even writing what is...
You mean how I found her?
And I highly recommend everybody get it. You
can get it on Amazon. Paperback and ebook.
And I have my autographed copy. Thank you very much, Barbara. So
how did I get to the story?
What was the initial? Did the story come to you, or did you find the story? How did that all happen?
The universe again. I had left NBC. I was in the soaps. I had left the soaps. And I was looking for something that would get me back into the business. And someone whom I trust, the big producer, said, find a story. So so that's one thing. I wasn't really looking for a story, but I was doing magazine articles. I was doing an article for a law enforcement magazine on racism in law enforcement. I called my sister, Arna. Hi, Arna. Hi, Dick, Arna's husband, who was living in Canton, Mississippi at the time and worked for the Labor Department. And I said, do you know anyone that I can, because I wanted to interview police officers all across the country. And she said, I have the perfect person for you. Arna had a case that she was involved with the Canton Police Department. She was overseeing to make sure that they were being paid correctly. And Vickie showed her around, and Vickie helped her and got the files. And she said, this woman is incredible, Vickie McNeil. She's a police officer. I will put you in touch. And Vickie and I really got along. And even though our backgrounds were different, she's Black and I'm white, she's Christian, I'm Jewish, whatever. I'm New England, she's Southern. We connected. I feel we used to joke that we were really sisters under the skin. And she told me about what I needed for my article, but she started to hint at something that she was going through, but she didn't really go into it in detail. I thought, thank you very much. And I wrote my article and that was it. And so meanwhile, I'm looking for an idea and I'm crossing Madison Avenue. And in the middle of Madison Avenue, this is true, the cars are coming this way and I'm not paying attention because I went, Vickie, there's my story.
Light bulb
Vickie,
moment.
that's going to be my movie, Vickie. And I went home and I didn't get killed by the cars. And I called her and I said, Vickie, I would like to option the rights to your life story. Wow. And that's when she went, what, who, what, and that's how it started. And it was even more extraordinary. The more that I got to know about her, the more extraordinary her story became. But I knew I didn't promise her anything. It's a good thing she wasn't waiting because it's taken all these years. But I just said, I'll do the best I can. I want to do the best to this story and I'll do the best I can. And of course, we would start talking about, and, Jada Pinkett Smith can play me and, whatever. But that's
Yeah.
how it started.
That's amazing, huh? So what has been her response and her own family and loved ones to it?
Well, unfortunately, Vickie has not been well for a while now. So
Mhm.
she is, otherwise she would be with me talking about
Should be
herself,
on.
her book. I
Yeah.
mean, that is a big, major loss that people are not going to be able to
Hear
talk
from
about,
her.
hear
Yeah.
from her. So I have to be her. Again, I have to be her. I'm sorry.
No, yeah,
But
it's a
I've been, and
responsibility.
I read the book to her over and over again. So she was saying, Barbara, this is getting better and better. We talk on the phone. And she went finally, and I keep saying it's going to get published. I promise you it's going to get published. And 2 weeks ago, when I was able to finally say to her, the book is up. People are buying it now. It's up. She said, oh, Barbara, she said, thank you so much. And she was so moved. And she said, you came through. You told me you would. And I said, sorry, it took so long. But,
Yeah.
and now yesterday I spoke with her and I was reading what people are saying about the book and how much they like it. And her son, who I was nervous about because of some of the things I wrote about him in the book, the troubles that he went through, but
Yeah.
a wonderful guy, and he had trouble as a teenager, which can happen to anyone. I
Sure.
was nervous. And of course, you're nervous about what the family's going to say about the thing. He loves it. She said he's telling everybody about it, and he's so excited about it. Because, you feel a responsibility to getting people right. But I didn't
Yes.
want to say things that weren't true or try and pussyfoot around things that just to get people to like it. I told the truth, but so far so good.
Of all these epic things you've had an opportunity to be a part of in the broadcast media, television world, and everything else, of course, the play Afterburn, we'll talk about that too. But where does this project, this book, rank for you in terms of things that you've done in your career that bring you such great joy, blessing, and solace? Where does this particular book, this project, rank in that long list of things you've done?
I can't really rank it. I would say that the things that I've done have all been important to me in the sense of, oh my God, I did this. I
Yeah.
accomplished this. Or my name is on a TV script. I created a character. I did this. This has taken the longest amount of time. So it has had the most challenges. So
Yeah.
from that perspective, I mean, because trust me, my friends have had to listen to me call, there's another thing wrong. The designer screwed up
Yeah.
whatever. And
They've
they
been with you all the way.
we know you're going to get through it. We know you're going to do this. And people have had to be supporting me for over 20 years now on this book. And so in that sense, I thought, and part of me thought it would never get done, but it got done. And Daddy, who's up in heaven, I hope, I always told him I would write a book and I would have the Garshman name on it. So here you go.
Isn't that incredible?
So
Huh?
I think all the things that any of us do, that we, bravery, courage is not being afraid. It's being afraid and doing it anyway. So anything I think that any of us accomplish in whatever way of life or in however, if we do something that's hard for us, we go outside of our comfort zone, we do something
Yes.
we believe in and we accomplish it.
Yes.
We all have succeeded. We've all done wonderful things. And that's what it feels like. If it was easy, it wouldn't mean as much.
Wouldn't be. Yes. How have you been able to now? Are you able to separate yourself from the book and detach it all, or is it still really in you intensely?
No, I think, frankly, as a writer, I really can't tell about whether something is good or not until I get perspective on it. I've been working on this for so many years. I have no
Yeah.
perspective on it.
Right.
I want to at some point be able to read it as if it's something I never saw before, but I'm
Yeah.
not there yet.
Yeah.
So, so I'm not as close to it as I was because I can sort of let go of it. Now I have to try and get people interested in it and let them know why they should read it and why it's going to be a value to them. That's the next part of the journey. And that's a challenge too. That's kind of scary.
And why should they read it, and why would it be of value to them? Tell us about that from your
First of all,
perspective.
it's a damn good story. And this is not something just that I'm saying. This is what people who are reading it are getting from it. They're involved. They are worried about what's going to happen next.
Yes,
They're
that's how I
totally
felt.
engaged.
Yeah.
And also it's very visual, which is fun
Yes.
because I keep thinking I'm not visual, but apparently when I write, I'm visual. So people are getting into the environment, the setting of the book. And she is an extraordinary woman, and you can learn from her, and you can be inspired by her, and you can see what she had to go through. She's very complex, and she's very
Yes.
intriguing. And there's also danger. There's a lot of danger. I have to
There's
tell you,
danger.
at one point, I was going to Mississippi for one of my visits, and I said to the people I was with, I was in some kind of a class or something. I said, if you don't hear from me in a few days, I'm due back. That means that something happened to me, that the government or somebody has killed me or taken me or whatever. Please tell the police. That's how scary. And maybe I was too scared. Maybe I over dramatized it, but that's the world that she lived in. And by doing the book, we tried to keep it secret. Like even at her first trial, the attorneys from the Justice Department said, don't let anyone know that she's a producer. Just say she's a friend.
She's just a friend, right?
Yeah. So I have always been concerned that this story that I'm telling could get me in trouble, could get us in trouble. And we even, when she came up to visit me in New York, we had one of the police officers on the force who was her friend. She asked him to check out the phones to make sure she wasn't being in the house, to make sure she wasn't being
tapped.
And he did the same for me to make sure that I wasn't being tapped. So there's been a lot of drama.
Does that still continue?
Yes, it still continues. She still has enemies who would do anything in their power and have tried consistently to destroy her. And some of them are dead. Some of the major ones have died. Yay. I'm sorry, but it's true. They were evil people. But some of them are still alive. Some of them are very powerful. Hopefully, if you don't hear from me within a month,
For the people, yeah, for the people that are watching now, can you give us the setting, and maybe you can even share a little bit of the book? We don't want to give the whole book away, but maybe there's a passage or there's something from the book itself. You can share one of the scenarios, one of the scenes, and to create a reference for the audience. When did this take place? What was the time frame when this was happening?
Well, it opens in 1978 when she becomes a police officer. It's her first day of work. But it goes, and that's something people said I did very well. I go back and forth in time, but it's not confusing, and apparently it works. I work very hard on making sure that it works, but people are responding well to it. It goes back into she was a sharecropper's daughter. She was, living in a shanty on a plantation. Wasn't a slave, but she got some money for her family, but she was picking cotton at the age of 2. And already, because her mother couldn't leave her anyway, she had to take her with her. And at the very beginning, even, she didn't want to use the croaker sack that the little kids use. She wanted to use the gunny sack that the big people use so she could stuff more cotton in it. So even at that tender age, her father was the best picker on the plantation. She wanted to emulate him, so already she was starting. We go back and forth between what's happening to her in the police station and on Man with a Gun assignments and things where she's about to get killed and how she survives, and back into this happened to her as a child, this happened to her as a young woman, but they connect, like if she's helping people who are she became the only person to deal with women who were suffering from domestic violence. And it triggered things for her that had happened in her past. So I go back into the past. What I can do, if you want, is just read like the first page to give people an idea of the sound of the book.
That would exactly, because the book has a sound, right? Exactly.
Okay.
That would be fantastic, Barbara.
Maybe not the whole page even, but you tell me when to stop. But it's the first chapter, and I love my chapter headings too. So the first one is a dream come true, ... or is it? I paced back and forth in my bedroom, too nervous to sit still. Jerry, my 8-year-old, hurled into the room, his pajamas tousled, and threw himself into my arms. What's wrong? I asked, and knelt down to his eye level. Daryl Parks' mama says women aren't supposed to be police officers. She says you're looking for trouble, and it would serve you right if you died. He started bawling into my lap. Daryl Parks is a jerk, said my pajama-clad 10-year-old daughter, Kim, walking into the room with a book in her hand, as always. I'm the first woman doing this, so how does Daryl's mama or anyone else know I can't do it, especially when I know I can? I've been waiting going on 7 years for this job. I guess I've had enough time to change my mind if I thought it was the wrong thing to do. Don't you? Jerry wiped his runny nose with his sleeve. Guess so. I took my badge out of the chiffre and traced its contours with my fingers. The round state of Mississippi seal was in the middle. Above it was the word Canton. Below it was the word police. I haven't had time to polish this yet. I'll do it, Kim said, putting her book down. No, me, Jerry said, jumping up and reaching for the badge. He never polished anything before, Kim said, sashaying her way over to the bed and reaching for the badge. Then it goes on and on. But this is just an idea of what her thinking is. Beyond, I didn't know for sure if I'd been hired to be a real officer or window dressing. I didn't want to believe my post was just for show. But the fact of the matter was that in 1975, Canton had lost the $192,000 in federal revenue sharing because of its many civil rights violations, blah, blah, blah. So, it's that gives you an idea of, and she talks about the first time she met the chief of police. I mean, I can go on. I could read all day, so let's
Oh, no, yeah. Do you see an audio book coming out of this as well? Something on Audible, or
if Audible wants to get
right, where you're narrating, and is
I don't know,
Vickie...
I can't do the different roles. I mean, I like audible books when the person doing can really take on different voices. I'm not good like that, so I wouldn't want to do my own book.
Is Vickie in a health position where she could speak as well? So the health is really, well, Godspeed to her. We send her and her family our very, very best. Who is the book designed for? A specific reader? Working in television, there's the demographics and all of that, but it sounds like the book goes beyond just the riveting nature of the story. It's something, and having read it twice,
Oh, wow.
I like to read things twice. I like to listen to the same piece of music several times, because when you do first, because I don't know, maybe because I get immersed in everything and I am visual, I think when you take something on for the very first time, there's the shock value of it. It's all fresh, it's all new. So you're absorbing it and it's coming through. And that's sort of the excitement of the beginning, of hearing the music, seeing the film, watching the TV show, reading the book, whatever it is, going to Disneyland and looking at everything for the first time. And then when you go back the second time, you appreciate more, you see more little nuances in a piece of music. You hear the little triangle that you didn't hear earlier because you were hearing all the big instruments first. So, and in reading it twice, I felt it even deeper. When you read it more than once, you start to really feel it even deeper. So I would suggest people read it and then put it down on the coffee table and then pick it up again and read it again, and you'll pick up little nuances maybe you missed the first time. Is there
all your friends to read it as well?
Right, exactly.
Friends, family, neighbors.
Yes, it's one of those where there's an inspirational vibe to it, empowerment.
And in answering your question, I think for me, and it's what I've done in all my work, whether I was helping people develop their own characters or developing my own, is that I think that any story can appeal to anyone if you have good characters. And she and the people also in this in the book are well defined. She's particularly well defined, and she's an intriguing character. And I was worried at first that maybe only people that were women or whatever would be interested, but no, it's crossing it. Everyone seems to be interested in it. It's a good story. It's also revealing something that we know about, but not necessarily do we know all the details of it, like you're learning about. It's taking off the whatever, looking underneath at this town, and I've also about police officers, and also, there were things like the black police officers, the male police officers. It was all men. This is where like racism comes into it. There were so many years before they could even join the force. They let blacks on the force. Then they wouldn't let blacks be in vehicles with whites. And then they wouldn't let them go into certain neighborhoods. So the people who came on the force had fought very hard to be police officers. A lot of them didn't have the courage to rock the boat. So when she came on thinking that her male black police officers would be in the same place she was about dealing with things and wanting to help people, no, they stayed away from her. They didn't join. They were not in the NAACP. They were not. And I'm not saying that makes them bad. Those were the times. Those were the things they were up against. And she came in, she barreled her way in, and she said, no, I'm not. No, I am who I am. I'm with the NAACP. I'm not going to lie about that. You just killed that suspect. I mean, and she was trouble. She was trouble from the minute that she got on the force. So they not only hated her because she was a woman, they hated her because she represented something that they couldn't be. So the police officers hated her, but also people in the town were scared of her. You couldn't buy her. You couldn't stop her from telling the truth. That was very dangerous when you're doing all kinds of drug running and you're doing all kinds of other things and you're not letting black people have business in the town. Oh, here comes Vickie McNeil. We got to get rid of her. And damn, didn't they try for years and years. Mm-hmm. And that's part of the drama of the book, too, is that you know.
And you're saying that, which, people talk about all the time, that some of this way of being, operating, still is in existence today.
Oh, the people that are still like I'm not going to say any names, but some of the people who are in high power, even like sheriffs and people like that, are very bad people. And they're arresting blacks just for the heck of it. There's still this, and the people, not the mayor. The mayor truly is a wonderful guy. He's a good man. But there's a lot of stuff that's still going on because, see, even if you like the people that run the town and have since way back, they are all they're the progeny, the descendants of the slave owners. So even while it looks like there's black this, black that, black officers, black police, the people who are really running the town, who meet on Saturday morning to discuss the business of the town, are the descendants of those people. It doesn't mean that other people aren't then caught in their sway, and like the police officers, et cetera, so they become evil as well. And Vickie's shown a light on all of that, and that's what this book does too. But it's as I said, it's a damn good story because you don't know what's going to happen, and it's scary, and it's exciting, and it's moving. I believe in my book. I can't tell anymore whether it's good or bad, but I know it's a good story.
I was saying,
that's what people are reacting to.
Who is there a demographic, who the reader is, but like you say, it's really for anybody because it goes beyond even just the nuts and bolts and specifics of the story. It's the feeling, like you said, there's a feeling. You get a feeling, and it's another reason why it took since 1997, because you wanted to really make sure that people didn't just read it, put it aside, and say, okay, well, that was great, that, interesting facts, wow, an unbelievable story and riveting and everything else. But you want them to think and question and
she
feel.
Was extraordinary by her humanity. She wasn't extraordinary because she was any better than anybody else. That's what's important in the book too, is she made a lot of mistakes. she had a lot of doubts about herself. She
Yeah.
didn't always do the right thing by her children. She didn't always know what to do for her kids. I mean, she was a good mother, but she had problems all the time. She had problems with her own sensuality, her own femininity, her own. You see her struggle with all these things and become a better and better, not better, and more a rounder and more developed, a deeper human being, a stronger human being. Not because she was so terrific to start with. Not all of us are capable of doing extraordinary things.
Right.
Right. And that's why I think that. So I think that people can identify with her, not as someone, oh, she can be like that, but I could never do that.
I could never, which a lot of people do. They say, I could never, this would never happen for me. And if anybody's just tuning in late, our very special guest is 5-time Emmy-nominated television producer, writer, author, Barbara J. Garshman. She penned this incredible, riveting, and inspiring book, You Can't Stop Me. And this is based, in case you're just tuning in late, this is based on real events. This is a true story. This is the real deal, right, Barbara?
Yes, the real deal.
Yeah. How
I just have to say something funny about Vickie.
Yeah.
Vickie has a real Southern accent.
Yeah.
So and almost like, even though she didn't grow up in the Delta, for anyone who knows the South or whatever, she's kind of talk like this, you know. So we would be on the phone, and she's I'm trying to do research with her, and I'm asking her questions, and she's answering me, and she would say, "Well, so I don't know what to do with the K-out because," and I'm saying, "No, what? The K-out." And so I said, "Could you please spell that for me?" She said, C-A-T, K-out. So it was, it's like, to this day, if I don't talk to her regularly, I can't understand a word that she's saying, and I have to get into it again.
The words sort of blend together, and with a certain melodic rhythm to it.
Real Southern, slow, And but then she's very, she's very animated. So it'll be like, Barbara, gonna see Spike Lee today. I can't believe it. So and now really, I can hear her saying those things. And
was this
camera?
Was this captured all remotely, or did you go there, or did she come to you as well? How did that happen?
Well, I have 30 hours of talking to her on the phone, on tape, but I also went to Mississippi.
You did go, yeah.
A number of times. And she came to New York and spent time and stayed here with me in my house. So it's a very close relationship. And
had she ever thought of leaving the area and trying to do what she did in another area that maybe would be less, resistant?
All the time, people were telling her, "You've got to get away from here. You could be a police officer in different parts of Mississippi." They wanted her in Jackson. They wanted
another state.
The Attorney General wanted her to do a task force. This one,
East Coast, West Coast, or anywhere.
She could not. Even her family was upset with her. She could not leave her town, knowing she was the only person who cared about a lot of those people. She was
invested. Yeah.
The police officers never got out of their cars. Vickie was always out of the car. She would help people on the weekend. She brought groceries to people. I mean, she was that kind of person. She was so
she cared.
She could not leave her town. And she had the dream, let's be honest. She wanted to be chief of police. She really felt, and then when she gave up, well, we won't say what happened. Well, obviously, she became chief of police because it's in the title, but it's only when she let go finally, which happens in life a lot, when she finally let go and said, "There's no way this is going to happen," that it happened. It was a total miracle. It was totally impossible that after everything that had happened, that she would get to be chief and help that town in the way she wanted to. She had so many ideas, and that's in the book too, about what she does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible, huh? Really an extraordinary story. I want to circle back to it, but thanks everybody for all these fabulous comments. If you're just joining us, I'm your host, Jim Masters. You're watching the Jim Masters Show live. We're coming at you live right now. If you'd like to comment in our JMS chat room, lots of people are. We thank those who have been doing that. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's no cost. That's Jim Masters TV. You can also binge watch almost you've worked in television, 700 episodes in 2 years.
It's extraordinary. I don't know how you're still alive, to tell you the truth. You must have boundless energy and unbelievable. It's really quite extraordinary what you've done, in addition to the other things that you do.
Working professionally in the industry, right? The bill paying stuff in the daytime, exactly. And she penned this extraordinary book, again, that we're very excited to share with you. You Can't Stop Me, From Sharecropper's Daughter to Chief of Police. And this is very inspiring, not just for women, not just for, all different cultures and races, but just for people in general who have always heard in their life, you're never going to be able to do that. That's not you. You shouldn't do that. You can't do that. You won't be good at that. A lot of people go through life being told you'll never, you can't, don't even try, don't bother, no matter what it is. You're never going to be able to be good at piano. Don't even pick up the violin. Don't even try to plant a flower because you'll kill it. Whatever it is, a lot of people shoot people down verbally, tear them down. And that could be their own family and friends. It could be colleagues. It could be anybody. So this book is also very inspiring for anybody to read, but really hits home with people who have been told over the years, just, they've been sized up. They've been framed and boxed into, you will only be that, you've always been that, and you'll never be anything else, and we've got you already sort of sized up. And that person may have inner desires, passions, and talents that we will never experience and be gifted, because they've always been sort of told by the rest of the society, forget about it, don't even try, it'll never happen. So this is a very inspiring text that will, I think, give people the gumption to say, you know what, this is my life, this is me, this is what I want to do, I'm going to go for it. So there's that deeper meaning that is tied into this beautiful book as well, Barbara, right?
But it's not written like you should do this or whatever. You just learn that from following her. It's not like, and so she inspired this. No, it's her story. In the telling of her story, you get that out of it. Like I have at the beginning of the book.
That's exactly right. It's not like a lecture or self-help type of thing. It's the story and the feeling of the story that gives you the inspiration to say, or the empowerment to say, you know what, maybe I can do what I've always dreamed of doing too.
And I have at the beginning of the book, Nelson Mandela, who said, do not judge me by my successes. Judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up again.
Yes. Yes.
And
some of the most successful people on earth have failed, have been rejected, have been turned away multiple times and it is that resilience. It is that I'm not going to take no for an answer. This really reflects me. I have this dream, this desire, this passion. I want to do this because I want to make the world a better place. It's those failures that you learn from. It's what makes you more resilient and stronger, and allows you to then express your gifts and your talents with the world, right?
I think what's fun about it too is that there are villains. There are real villains. And it's scary, and she has to figure out a way through them, around them, above them, below them, whatever, to survive. And so that's always fun. It adds drama to it, and also you hate those villains.
Yes, you do.
You're so frustrated, like, why aren't they doing this, or why are the attorneys doing this, or why is this happening, or and you have to. How is she going to handle it, and how is it going to go through, and is it going to be good again? Is it and
how much of your television background as a producer and a writer, working in development for NBC, but also working on the soap operas. Not that the book's a soap opera. This is a real story, real facts, real feeling, but just the understanding of people and relationships and kind of what you just described, similar in nature to what we saw on Guiding Light, Days of Our Lives, Another World. How did having that background, coupled with your understanding and appreciation of psychology, aid in your writing this book?
Well, I think, people very often will talk about soaps as being something inferior. But the fact is, soap operas create people who you watch grow and change over years of time. You know a lot about them. Like if someone has, if someone has been hurt by someone and they haven't seen them in 10 years and they both end up being at the same birthday party, there's going to be, oh my God, I can't believe it. Oh my God, what's going to happen? And I think that so people's backstories and their complexity as human beings are something that I learned how to develop from my years in development and my years in the soaps. And so, of course, when I was making this story, she told me her whole life, I had to decide what are the most dramatic elements of her life that I can tell without overwhelming people, that will give a flow to the story, but also reveal enough about her that you're interested in her and what happens to her. And so I think, of course, all of that, as I developed creatively, it helped with the book.
Let's talk a little bit about that. Supervising producer for a number of years on this beloved television series, soap opera, Guiding Light. What was it like working on Guiding Light on CBS, Barbara?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I love, when I first came on the show, we had a writer's meeting. And I came home from the meeting and I called up one of my friends and I said, these people are crazy. They're talking about these characters as if they're real. I don't know if I'm going to last on this show. Within another week, I was doing the same thing, because you cannot write or produce characters that you don't believe in. You can't. And these are people, the soaps are characters that people have known for 30 years, some of them, 40 years, from when the time was a little, like Erica Kane, from the time she was a little girl. So I loved that, because I was allowed to be in make-believe all the time on one level. On the other level, people would say, what does a supervising producer do? So the way I would describe it is the executive producer runs the show in terms of the executive producer is like the captain of the ship. The supervising producer, who represented the owner, which was Procter & Gamble,
yes,
is the owner of the ship, representative of the owner of the ship. So I had to, I was involved in, like I was with the other job at NBC, I was involved in every aspect. I had to fix problems. If there were problems with the actors, I was in the story meetings. I had to deal with the budget, tell the executive producer, no, you cannot buy a new set here. So once again, and this is what I like. I was involved in lots of different things. So every day had lots of different things going on in it. It's never just the same work over and over again.
And garnered the Emmy nominations as well along the way for the extraordinary contributions and work as well, Barbara. Also touching upon when with NBC, many shows, many specials, and lots of different work. One of the other soap operas too, of course, Another World. What years were you writing for Another World?
The show that I was on the most was Guiding Light, as a producer and then as a writer. I wrote a couple of storylines for Another World. I had to come up with long-term story. When they write stories, they write like 3-month storylines. I like everything, or 6-month storylines, and then they divide it into daily episodes and weekly arcs of the story. And they asked me to do a love story. I don't remember now who it was for, but also to do a story that had like ghosts in it. And
what year? What years?
It would have been. This was a long time ago, so it would have been in the in the 90s, in the early 90s.
So did you meet Constance Ford, who played Ada, and Victoria
People that I
Wyndham?
work with, the things that I did for for Another World and for Days were things I did.
Days of Our
I,
Lives.
I, I was long distance. I mean, I did writing material for them, but the show that I was involved with the actors on a daily basis, and I was at the studio and whatever, was Guiding Light.
Yeah.
And I knew all those characters.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew all those people. I knew all those, but you say you know all those characters because that's who they are.
The actresses. It's extraordinary the love that people have. Talk about intensity, the fans for the soaps. Even today, the remaining ones that still exist, but also the ones that aren't around anymore. They still talk about them. They still miss them. They still talk about the storylines.
Because they're people to them. They're real people to them. They're not characters. They're real. Reva, Josh, Roger, they were real characters, real people to them. They knew everything about them from the time they were little. You develop a relationship with someone like that. It's not like a passing. And at that time, the soaps were the only. They now are doing they're doing soaps in primetime. But in the early days, well, when I worked on the soaps were still one of the only ones who were doing backstory on people and doing emotional story on people. Now, most of the series, even the procedurals, even the crime dramas, they tell you about the characters, and the characters have wives and children and lovers and whatever. That's all new within the last, since the 1990s started.
Yeah. You also worked with ABC. Tell us about your work with the ABC television network.
Well, I worked in daytime for ABC. I didn't even mention that to you because I forget.
Right.
I was a consultant for them, trying to find writers for the soaps and to train writers for the soaps and to find new daytime programming, to help develop new daytime programming. So I did that for a while. And
what were some of the shows that you ended up working on that came to fruition that they
didn't come to fruition? That's why working for NBC was so exciting, because we already had a contract that at least those 10 miniseries were going to go. Most development never makes it to the light of day. So
isn't that amazing? All the work, people don't realize all the work that goes in, and
like you go through so much, and you develop a pilot, and then they have the pilot meeting, and they decide, no, we don't like this one, and then you're gone.
There's a story that I learned about just in doing research. A great show that was on in the late 70s, early 80s. And it was an Aaron Spelling production. Of course, Aaron Spelling during those years in 70s, 80s was a prolific television producer.
Absolutely.
And it was the series Family with Seda Thompson and James Broderick, Christy McNichol, Meredith Baxter Burney, Gary Frank, Quinn Cummings, set in Pasadena and the life and trials and tribulations of daily life of the Lawrence family. And that had been pitched many years prior, and there were all of these things that would happen. It would get derailed. There was just nothing was working out, and I was fascinated by the story, just what they had to go through to finally get Family on television. And it actually started as a mini series on ABC. They had like a few nights of it, and it became so popular, it was so well received, it became a television show, and they turned it into a TV series from the miniseries. But what they had to do with just getting it to be, even for people to respond, people within television to say, all right, we're going to believe in this project, we'll invest in it, we'll allow it to go on the air. Is it too saccharine? Is it this? Is it that? Which it wasn't saccharine. Was extraordinary to know, and then to get such iconic talent, actors and actresses, to be a part of it, and the brilliant writers. And Aaron Spelling was once asked, of all the shows on television that you were involved in, I mean, Charlie's Angels, I mean, all of these shows, what is the one that you're probably most proud of? The one that really is the one? He said it was Family. Family was the one that he was the most
It
proud
was a
of.
really good show.
Really well written, absolutely, and brilliant acting by Seda and James Broderick and Seda Thompson. But what it takes to actually
Well, to
all
do
of the work
anything.
leading up to it, right? It
I
isn't just
think people look at people who are successful or whatever, and they say, oh, look at that. And I could never be that. And then like, I find myself, I'm in the Writers Guild because I used to write for television. And I go to a lot of screenings, and very often at the screenings of the new movies, they have Q&A with the stars, the producers, the directors, the writers, the actors. And invariably, and these are people who you think, oh, they can get anything done they want to get done. Oh, if only I could be like that. And you hear them tell stories. Well, we've been working on this film for 10 years. Or, well, this is a project I started in 1909 and I got no.
right.
Really, and you realize, oh my God, it's not easy for anyone. And so you can't look at like the surface and let that discourage you. You just have to be willing, as my friend in South Carolina said, do what it takes to do what you want,
Do what it takes to do what you want. That's a perfect way to put it. Absolutely. And you've certainly done that. I was going to say, do what it takes to do what you want.
Do what you want.
Do what it takes. Yeah, I like that.
And my friend Madeline could write a new song on this.
There's something else too that people, if they have never heard about it, they should really investigate it. But it was Afterburn. Tell us about Afterburn, the inspiration, the germ of the idea. This was another incredible, riveting situation. This is a wonderful play tells the story of the veterans, but much, much deeper than that. Tell us about Afterburn, which is another project that I know very, very near and dear to your heart.
Yes, particularly. I had been trying to develop a TV series, primetime series, based on a lot of different characters who lived in New York City. And I decided that I was going to have one character be a soldier, because I happened to have a nephew who was in the Israeli Defense League. Mm-hmm. And so I was aware of soldiers and things like that. And I was trying to do research on soldiers. And I called one of the National Guards here, and I asked if they had any information or whatever. And the publicity guy calls me back a day later, and he says, there are soldiers coming back from Iraq. This was during when we were in Iraq. They had there are soldiers that are coming back from deployment in Iraq. They're going to be coming to the 26th Street Armory. Do you want to go? And so I'm picturing like from the movies, where they all come and everybody's crying and they get off the bus. And I thought, okay, I'm going to go. So I'm waiting. And while I'm waiting, the bus was late. It was coming from Fort Dix, not Fort. Yeah, that's in New Jersey, I think, right? Fort Dix. And I'm talking to other soldiers and I'm hearing their stories, guys who are waiting, who are working, because it's National Guard. So they work at the armory or whatever as they do their other careers. And I'm hearing all these incredible stories. And the bus finally arrives and the people are getting off the bus. There's no one there to greet them. I found out later why, that because the armory didn't want to spend money on that. I won't go into the details, but it's an interesting story.
Be in the next book.
Yeah, my next book, my next movie. And this one guy, so they were just disappearing, going into taxis. They've just come back from war. And nobody's paying attention to them, and they're just kind of like disappearing into the street, hailing taxis, going off with their duffels on their shoulders. And there was one that he got off, and there was a newsman there from NBC, and he was interviewing him, and I thought, this guy is interesting. So I went up to one of the people I had been talking to, who was an officer, and I said, how do I get in touch with this person? Not right away. I'm sure he needs some time. So I got in touch with him. I got in touch with some of the people that I had spoken to while we were waiting for the bus to come. And I was so impressed. It's not about war. about being for the war or against the war. It was about what war does to human beings. And what I saw that it had done to, and which I'd always sort of known on an intellectual basis and believed.
Right.
I was hearing these heartrending stories and how they come back, how in training to be a killer, what it does to the human psyche.
Yeah.
And how they're never the same again.
Right.
And how they come back, they're not getting the support they need from the government, from their families, their friends. They are different people. They can't even relate to the world anymore. They're used to being in danger, and they're used to worrying about their lives, and they're used to high drama, and they're angry and they're upset and they're injured, and how do these people survive? And so I decided that I was going to write a TV series about it. And I wrote a TV series about it, a primetime series, and I was showing it to people. And I was doing some volunteer work at this place that helps people, poor kids, and had a theater as well. And the director of the theater said, why don't you do a reading of this? So I thought, okay, I'll do a reading of it. And I only hired combat veterans to be in it. I asked them to be in it. And so I got to know more combat veterans. I got to know the men and women. I got to know their stories as their real stories. And then they were so happy to be in this reading because it was very true to them. The way I wrote it was very true to them. And Dan, who was the director of the theater, said, and of the organization, said, I think you should make it into a play. I said, I've never written a play in my life. I don't know. He said, I'll help you. I will guide you. And he became my, what do they call him? There's a word for the person who, I can't think of it at the moment, who helps you with this, he's like, anyway, I started to turn it into a play.
Like a ghostwriter, I mean? Or?
No, he didn't write it at all. They're a dramaturg.
Oh, yeah, dramaturg, right.
So they're like a producer or something. Okay, this works. I think you should do a little something here, or I don't know that we need that character, that kind of help. And I wrote this play, and I didn't know if it was good, if it was bad. I was talking to a relative of mine who had been in the Fringe Festival the year before with one of his plays. It had been one of the top plays. And he said, why don't you apply to the Fringe Festival? The Fringe Festival is an international play festival that takes place. Well, they have them all over the world. They have them in Scotland. They have them, but this one took place in New York. And it was a juried thing. You had to send in the play, and if they liked it, they would let you be in the festival. And then you would get 5 days of production, in a theater. I put it in. Here's the universe again. I got accepted. My play got accepted. And so then I had never, when I had been in all my other jobs, I just would call someone up to be a producer. I called someone to be an editor. I called the advertising department. I called the camera department. I had to do all this myself. I had to find a director. I had to find a stage manager. I had to be the producer. I had to pay for it.
All of it.
Yes. And I thought it was never going to get done. We had so many problems. We couldn't even get people to help us with things. We couldn't get. It was quite an experience, I have to tell you.
Yes.
It came out all right. It sold to sold out audiences on 4 of the 5 days. And it was another extraordinary event in my life. I did something I didn't think I could do. And soldiers were coming to it, and they were weeping, and they were saying to me afterwards, this is it. This is how we feel. This is exactly how it is. Not bullshit, not Hollywood.
Right.
This is what our struggles are. And I had people who were Puerto Rican, Black. It was a diversified cast, and white. And also because they have different perspectives and different stories. And it was all based on real people that I had talked to. I used the people that I had talked to, and I sort of anonymized them. I made up that word. And I
like that word.
and I have wanted to do something more with that, because I feel that it could be even a teaching mechanism for soldiers to express how they really feel, because they don't really tell anybody, and they don't even tell their families. And I thought if they could watch the play and then talk about it after. So I was trying to do things like that and then COVID happened. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
hoping at some point to get it back up as a production, and I'd like to also get it to military bases. And that's not so easy to do, apparently, but eventually, so more soldiers can see it.
Absolutely. And of course, this one, Red Stars of Brighton. Tell us about that.
I wasn't really involved in that. They say that I am. One of my
Yeah.
soldiers who was really helped me with the play and was a captain in the Marines. He got me involved in that, but then that sort of it didn't work out, and the association it didn't work out. And
Something
I
that you were
still,
going to
but
be a part of.
I was involved in developing it with them
You
and
were.
whatever. Yeah, but then I don't even know what happened with it. I don't know if it went through or not. It was based on his experiences working as a bouncer in Brighton Beach for the Russian mafia, and it's an interesting series. But I don't know what happened with it.
What are some other things that you're working on now as well that you might be excited about that you want to share?
Well, what I'm working on now, first of all, is trying to get my book up to people.
Yeah.
Let more and more people know about it. That's a challenge and a job in and of itself. If anybody knows someone who wants to make a movie of this, let me know, or let Jim know.
Yes.
So I had started. I think one of the things that happened with me in COVID is that some of my creative juice has been expended on other issues, and so I have been trying a few different things that I had started writing before, and started a new play, but I don't think that's the answer for me. I have another story based on experiences I had. I went on an African safari, and I ended up being the only one on the safari, and it's an interesting story. So people keep urging me, because my life has always been so strange.
I'm going to make a call actually to one of my friends who is a prolific and successful film movie producer working in New York, LA, and is based in Connecticut. And I want to see if we can. He was a guest on our show recently. He's a dear friend. And I mean, they are very successful. And I'm going to see if
Well,
we
that
can
would be
maybe
well.
link, because
I
he
thank you
might be
for
able to. Yeah.
thank you for trying, and let me know, and I'll send him a book if he's interested in looking at it. But
Yes,
thank
I
you. I
might be
appreciate
able
that.
to. Yeah, and turn this into to a film. I'm gonna connect with him, and then you and I will stay in touch. We have two
Absolutely.
million mutual friends. We're now we're now cousins. Well, you're a
Right.
lovely, so
And my moon is in Libra, and your Libra. So, I mean,
that's an automatic.
that's an automatic.
You know, it's interesting when you speak. I hear touches of the New England and touches of the
Absolutely.
New York.
Well, I've been here for so long that I have some New York, but I'm from Massachusetts, Worcester, Massachusetts.
Worcester, yes, we have family in
Worcester,
that area.
as we say.
Worcester. We have family in Fitchburg and Ashburnham, and well, all
Oh,
throughout.
okay.
My mother's the youngest of 16. I know I've said it multiple
Oh
times.
my God.
From Connecticut and Massachusetts.
Oh my
All New
God.
England.
Yeah.
And yeah, so a lot of relatives on my mother's side, my father's side, the New York side. And they're all over the country. They're in
You live in
Canada, they're in
Connecticut,
Europe.
right? Do you live in
Huh?
Connecticut? Are
They're
you
right there in the majority. Well, they're
you
all
are
over the
in
country on the
you are in
coast.
Connecticut. Are
On the
you in
coast.
Connecticut?
On the coast, yeah. Yeah. It is beautiful. It's 70
I'm
degrees right
jealous.
now and sunny.
I
Yeah.
love being
Yeah.
near the ocean.
With a light
Anything that
coastal
puts me near
breeze.
the ocean. I can't
I'm an
be in the
ocean
middle of the
person.
country. I'm an ocean person. I don't even have to go in it, although I like to. I just have to hear it. I have to see it. And it's like some people do meditation, which I do sometimes too, but all I have to do to calm myself is to look at the ocean. And I'm like, namaste. I'm fine. So
Yeah, I
I,
tell you, it's
I
what is
love
the
it.
yeah, I'm an
I'll have to
ocean
come and
person.
visit you sometime so I can go to the ocean with you.
Yes, I tell you, well, I grew up out east on Long Island, so we're surrounded by water there, and swimming, surfing, boogie boarding, sailing.
Oh,
Uh,
I'm impressed.
just being near it, we were in Florida visiting family. I mentioned the story, and I was swimming in the ocean there in Florida, and the family was packing up, getting ready to leave. I said, "Okay, Jim, let's go. We're getting ready to go." And I'm like, "Why are we leaving?" And they said, "Well, because it's starting to rain." And I said, "But I'm in the ocean. I'm already wet."
Well, I have a similar story.
They
Whenever
were
I used
talking about the lightning, in Florida, the lightning can be
yeah, right.
intense. So get out of
Which
the
is
ocean.
scary, but if you're an ocean person, when I used to go to, when I was doing the miniseries, I was for 2-year period of time. I was going out to LA every couple of weeks. So and staying there. So my girlfriend's, who was a writer, she has since passed, but her son, who was 16 at the time, I used to say, Shepsy, his name is Jonathan. Shepsy was his nickname. Will you please take me to the water? And he would take me down to the water, to one of the communities, Santa Monica or wherever.
Yeah.
So I'm there, but they were having rains of Ranchapur there. It was terrible. It was how they have mudslides and
and
I
a lot of
said,
rough stuff there. Yeah.
And he said he picks me up to go, and I said, Shepsy, take me to the water. And he's like this. He said, we're in the water. I said, not this water, the water, and bless his soul. He's in the business now too, by the way. He's at Disney. He's a big lawyer. Anyway, he took me to the water. I just thanked him for it the other day. I said, I just have to tell you, I'm still thanking you for that. You didn't act like I was crazy, which I was. You just took me to the water.
Take me to the water.
Take me to the water.
So when you're with Barbara and she says, take me to the water, take her to the water.
Yeah, the real water. If it's a lake,
not talking about a swimming pool, although swimming pools are great.
No, not a swimming pool. No,
she wants the ocean and the salt
pool is
air.
For dunking. If it's hot, you dunk. But lakes are all right, but then and rivers, but nothing is as good as the ocean.
Somebody said, I don't see you in a river. I see you in the ocean. I just don't see you in a river.
The river runs through it, but I can appreciate rivers. Rivers are beautiful. I went on the Mississippi River once on a trip with my aunt. It was horrifying. It was so boring. I thought I would die. There was nothing to see. The being on the riverboat was nice, but there was nothing to see on either side. On the banks of the river, there was nothing to see. It was the same. No offense to anyone, because I love the river and I love Mississippi. I love New Orleans. I love Louisiana. But the river was boring.
Title of your next book.
Right. The river
was boring. Everybody commenting. We thank our viewers who I'm a very interactive host. I like to bring people in, and we have an international audience that watches daily with us here, and they're all commenting and they're all excited about getting the book, and they appreciate the sharing our conversation of your career and a little bit about your background, as well as the book and everything else. Thank you, Barbara, for being here. Thank you, Jim, for having this interesting guest here. Jane is watching in Sweden.
Oh,
and
I was
watching
in
South Africa is Juanita.
Oh, wow. This is so
great conversation.
exciting.
Thanks, Barbara and Jim. Congratulations on the book,
Africa,
Barbara. Kathleen is in New York City. Thank you for being here, Barbara. Great conversation. And Sherry's in Kansas, USA. Thank you for sharing your career, your book with us today, Barbara. Your book sounds like a definite need to read. There will be a movie. Yes, absolutely.
So.
Mary Bishop.
Your lips to God's ears.
Speaking of Florida, so looking forward to reading the book. Sounds wonderful. Thanks, Barbara. And of course, Jim. Thank you, Mary. Linda in Florida. Thank you, Jim, for all you do for us, Lovities, and your guest. Don't know how you do it all. You've made your show one big happy family getting together for a chat. Thank you. Thank you, Linda, who's in St. Augustine, Florida. Beautiful area there, St. Augustine. Thank you, Barbara, for sharing your life with all of us. I'm enjoying listening to your stories about your book. I do hope you come back and see us again. Yeah, the Lovities always like when guests do return. Joan says, thank you, Barbara and Jim, for a lovely afternoon. Jane says, you're welcome back here, Barbara. And Will has been commenting throughout. Will, welcome to the Jim Masters Show. You're now our Lovity as well, and hope you'll watch more. And thank you, James and Barbara. Wonderful show. Thank you, Will Elliott. Cabaret Singer Showcases. Should have to have Will come on the show as a guest as well.
He's very interesting.
He's in Connecticut and Black Rock. That's where he is. Okay, cool. Over towards Fairfield County. And yeah, just the comments have been just so really, really nice throughout. What are, well, where can they get the book? Amazon, right? We want to make sure.
Amazon. All you have to do really is you don't even have to know, just write Barbara Garshman, or you can just write, "You can't stop me," except Garshman. You can't stop me, Garshman. So my name, and it'll take you right to the book.
I have a question about that. It's a fantastic title and it's perfect for that book and the content. But how much does that title, "You Can't Stop Me," reflect Barbara?
I think it reflects both of us. It wasn't the title originally. It was just Journey from, but it was Breakthrough was what it was. Journey from sharecropper's daughter to chief of police. And then one day I just got, wow, this is about someone that's unstoppable. That's when I put it in.
That's perfect. A lot of people have also been, sometimes we do a little Edward R. Murrow here, person to person. You know, we're at the home of Lucille Ball. We're at the home of Jerry Lewis. They've been commenting about your background and the beautiful paintings on the walls. Do you want to tell us about the room you're in and the beautiful artwork that's behind you?
It's a living room, dining room. And this part is like an L. So it's like my study area. Those are all paintings that I did. And the one with the native woman, the native woman, I met her in Kenya when I was on safari. Her name is Judy, and my middle name is Judith, and I painted her. And
those are amazing. I didn't realize you did that work. So you do that as well? Painting?
I was painting for quite a while, a number of years back. I haven't done it in a while.
Wow, that's a beautiful outlet as well, huh? Was anything ever available for sale, or was it just something you did?
If anybody wants it, I'll put a price on it. I once was in an art show, and actually my mom came in from Worcester for it. It was at Columbia. They were having an art show. I had one art show, but I never really pursued it. I was too busy. You know, this was more as a release for me. I had my former boyfriend was an artist, and so he got me interested and gave me encouragement to paint. I used to paint quite a lot for a while.
I was having dinner a couple of years back at my dentist's house. We were friends, and they were actually clients on a radio show I did for years on iHeartRadio. So they were having like a little dinner party at their house, and they wanted us to come over. So went over, and there was a big screen television on in the living room, so we could see it from the kitchen. And his wife, who also is a dentist, said, now what we saw on what was airing on television at that time on that screen was the Oprah Winfrey Show. So Oprah was on, and his wife, as we're having wine and cheese or what have you, his wife points to the television and she goes, "Oh, there he is again. There's my brother." And I'm looking at the TV and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm looking at the Oprah Winfrey Show and I'm seeing Dennis Leary.
Who's from my hometown, by the way.
That's exactly what I was gonna. Yeah. So here I am. We're at our dentist's house having dinner, and her brother is Dennis Leary. It's like, wait a minute. I never knew because she never brought it up. Her name is Betsy Leary, Hilton, and they never brought it up. You know, it's not something that they go around telling all of their patients and, hey, my brothers. She's actually
some people would do that, but they obviously.
To her, it's her brother. Oh, there he is again. Now he's on Oprah. Because I think he had done a film which was celebrating and remembering the firefighters lost in that big Worcester fire that had happened. Because he's a big supporter of the firefighters. And
yeah, that wasn't that long ago. Yeah.
He was on Oprah talking about it. And so she goes, "Yep, that's my brother." I'm like, and everybody in the room was like, huh? And then she goes and ask who our cousin is. I'm like, your cousin? I mean, we're bowled over that you're pointing out Dennis. Ask who the cousin is. I'm like, who could it be? Okay, so they're Irish, and I'm Irish as well. So, the cousin of them is Conan O'Brien from Brookline.
He's from
Massachusetts.
Brookline? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he's from
We
Brookline.
New Englanders, we're a
Y-
sturdy stock.
You like your chowder, chowder? Yeah, yeah. So
Chowder.
they're cousins. The Conan O'Brien, Dennis Leary are all their cousins, and that was interesting. And Worcester is where the Learys are from.
There are a lot of important people who came out of Worcester. It's a breeding ground for interesting people. Mostly if you
Yes.
get out of there. You have to get out of there, though. You can't stay there. Because then you'll just turn into a piece of mold. But,
That's funny. What are some of the blessings and joys in your life that continue to spark and inspire you to create for the good of all of us, all this art and all of this desire to empower and lift people up? That's something I love to do in my work. I mean, like you, you didn't set out initially to go into television, but when you went in, you made the most of it, and you have this extraordinary body of work. You've been revered and accolades and noted, not why you do it, but that came as a result, and beloved as well. So you made the most of it and learned as you were going how to do it. You were immersed in it, wearing many hats, which I can relate to as well myself, wearing many hats. What are some of those continued blessings and joys in your life that spark you to continue doing what you do for the good of all of us, Barb?
well, I think first of all, the thing that allows me to keep growing and improving, if you were, becoming more whole, are the people that are in my life. I have been fortunate enough over the years to develop really good friendships and my family, my sister Arna, my nephew and his wife have been there for me. David Friedman is an ongoing source of strength, wisdom, and
Sure.
everything to me. He's saved my life on many occasions. And I'm in a group of people where we support each other, where we're working hard to keep developing ourselves, to face the truth about ourselves, to overcome the things that bother us. Like I was really nervous about coming on the show. I wrote them yesterday. I said,
Have we not met at one of his dinner parties at the
we
house?
probably have like Christmas at his
Yes,
house.
the epic
But
Christmases and Easters and the wonderful parties they
I
throw.
wrote these people. I said, I need support. I'm scared to go on the show. And immediately they started calling me and they wrote to me and they helped center me and get me
You were
back
scared to come on the show? Yeah.
Yes,
Just
I was
because
scared
it's
because you're
you.
so in. No, because I've never done anything like this before, and I wanted people to know about the book, and I didn't want to
Yeah.
get sick in the middle. I mean, I didn't know what would happen, and actually, it's been wonderful. You're very easy. You ask good questions, which is what I felt, which is why I trusted coming on the show. But so the people in my life, the relationships that I have built, friends of mine, and now my friends, even like my friend Judy, who's been my dear friend for years. I'm now friend. Her children have grown up, and I'm friends with them, and I'm friends with the grandchildren. I think that it's all about people. It's all about connecting and being and loving and helping each other. And it sounds corny, but really, it's what works. And you have to be willing to look at the truth of yourself and deal with your issues and stuff. And that's the hardest thing in the world to do. Yeah. It's much easier to try and go climb under the bed, which I have done on many occasions, pull the covers over my head and say, I'm scared. I can't, really, I didn't think I'd make it to this thing. And now it's almost over and it was fantastic. So, no, really. So, and then, I read a lot. I'm a vociferous reader. My mother, voracious, not vociferous. I'm a voracious reader. I learned that from my mom. She read all the time. And I learn a lot. I watch movies. I read. I like nature. Those things all inspire me. And it seems that ultimately the stories I end up telling are ones about real people. I just, and so because I'm able to build relationship, people have always said, and I don't know why, but they trust me. They tell me things they don't tell anybody else. And
I get that too. Yeah. They're comfortable. They know that it's safe and you create a safe zone. I try to do that in my work, not just with this show, but the professional stuff as well. I try to create and it's an automatic thing. It's not on purpose. I just try to create it where it's a feeling of warmth, acceptance, ease, comfort. Even if we're talking about some very heady topics or some really serious news type issues, whatever it may be, because I think when somebody feels not judged and accepted, and there's a warmth, and I'm really all in with them and supporting, and really I'm a deep listener too. So when they feel that, they will emote, they'll share, and it'll feel like a more richer, worthwhile, valuable experience for them and for the viewers or the listeners who are along for the ride. I'm very cognizant that there are fabulous people that are following what you and I are saying right now, some hanging on to every word, some being inspired, some being entertained. And it really means a lot to them. And they come back again and again looking for more of it. I'm very cognizant and appreciative of that. And for you to come on the show and not having really done this type of thing before, but you've watched other episodes of the Jim Masters show, the Lucy Arnaz and other ones, and felt comfortable enough, safe enough to emote, to share, to express essences of who Barbara is as a person, not just the person that's the television producer and writer and the author of the book, all of those things, but Barbara, the person behind the scenes who came from Worcester and, all of that, I think is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I'm so honored that you were able to say, you know what? Nothing, it can't stop me. I'm going to do it. I'm going on that show.
And I want to thank you so much for having me and for being such a delightful interviewer and host, because that can be very daunting. And if someone is picking at you or trying to get you to say things that you don't want to say or whatever, you asked very intelligent, good questions. And I truly appreciate that, because you set me at ease.
I appreciate that. Somebody else that likes to stop by towards the latter part to say hello is with us right now, and just wanted to pop in. Mr. George Burns is with us.
Georgie.
Georgie's here.
How are you?
Yeah, right. His cigar, and he's got his pocket square, and there he is. And he said, Barbara, you knocked it out of the park. You were amazing. You were a delight. He thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. He thought it was witty. It was fun. It was authentic and real, and he's been enjoying it. He's got a little I got the cup of coffee over here I've been sipping.
Oh, but we can't see it because it's Zoom,
he's got he's got his martini that he has off to the side. So he's
thank you, Georgie. Come around again.
My aunt collected dolls. My aunt actually in West Hartford, Connecticut, and she had to have the George Burns doll when he turned 100, the collectible doll. So it got passed down to me, and I put it on one episode 2 years ago, and everybody fell in love with him. And we have other.
Yeah,
it's really fantastic. He's on a pedestal and everything. And he's supposed to be like put away and preserved, but we have him here for the show. He joins
having him if he can't come on the show.
If he can't come on the show. Yeah, we've got the I Dream of Jeannie bottle over here, and we've got a little Gilligan that Dream of Denver, Bob Denver's wife, when she was a guest, sent us, and some other TV kind of stuff. But George loved it, and he sends you his love and all the best. He said, you knocked it out of the park, Barbara. You got George's.
Thank you, everyone, for joining in and listening to me and sending me your good thoughts. I appreciate hearing the things that you wrote, and it means a lot to me. And
commenting.
Read the book.
Yeah, that's right. Read it twice, gang. Make sure you read it twice. There it is again, gang. And again, you can go to Amazon to get it, and you can see the spelling of her name right there on the screen as well. And do you see yourself going back into television, or television? That hat has been.
If someone wants to make a series out of my play about the soldiers or about my book, I'd go back into Flash. I miss it. I don't. people my age are all like playing golf or whatever. I know. I miss being in the business. I'm happy to do anything that involves. I don't know if I'd want to work full time, but no,
Yeah.
I love television. I would do it in a flash. If anybody wants me to work on the project, well, they
So
would have to have me. If they want the project, they
well,
have to come with it.
Barbara comes as part of the
I don't
package.
need to write it necessarily, but I would help develop it. Yes, absolutely. Maybe
That is,
write one of the episodes, unless
yeah.
it's a movie, or it could be a movie and a miniseries. And then it could be an audible book. The people in my group are always talking about all the things that it can be. They make so that I will envision the success of it.
So do you bounce the ideas off them
No,
and
I
they give you
just complained.
suggestions?
I
You
just
complain. And they're
nothing's
like, Barbara, don't
happening.
worry
Nobody
about it.
but there's 3 days went by and no one knew about the book, stuff like that. So then they go into their positivity, and David doesn't see it as a movie. It's already a movie.
Oh,
People are already
yes.
coming to the premiere of it. That's what we.
Have you done the thought exchange yet with David?
Yes, this is thought
That's part of yes. Pretty incredible too, huh?
Yeah, pretty incredible.
It's life-changing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been a guest on our show twice, actually, and Sean's also been a guest on the show, talking about various projects, various things. But we just shoot the breeze, and that's what I like to do. I like to make this, maybe we're talking about the book, yes, but also I like people to get a sense of who I am, who the guest
Right.
is, and even who they are along the way. Everybody's sort of win-wins with it. I hope the show met whatever expectations you had and you enjoyed the time with me as much as I absolutely have with you, Barbara.
Oh, more than what I could expect, because I was too nervous to expect. I was just like, Barbara, just don't fall apart, just so no, it was. I'm being totally myself, and that's a wonderful feeling, to feel that you're in an environment where you can be yourself. So this is who I am. This is what you get. And I've enjoyed it totally.
Well, it's been completely my pleasure, and I appreciate those words. And as my father has always said, whenever anybody says something kind or nice to you, ask them to please put it in writing and address it management.
And I'll say once again, for those of you who have not subscribed to his show yet, subscribe.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that. We will definitely be connecting again. We have all the mutual friends. Congratulations on the book and this epic career in television and more. Really, really fantastic. You've been responsive. I know you're very humble about it. A lot of our guests are, but I don't mind waving the flag of congratulations. You've been involved in so many incredible epic productions and shows and entertainment and features that, have touched people and inspired people. And now with this book, with Afterburn, the play, and everything else, and more to come from Barbara. We applaud you and we thank you, and thanks for spending all this time. You and I said, are you good for about an hour? Sure. We just did 2 hours and 7 minutes. Didn't feel like it, right?
No, it didn't feel like it. No, it was very, very engaging. Great host, great guest. What are you going to do?
It's a win-win.
We do the best we can, right?
That's it. That's like Regis would always say, I'm only one man. And he's saving the network.
Right.
He was a friend. I miss him. He was terrific.
He was a great guy. I used to like
Regis
his show.
Philbin. Yeah, what a bundle of energy, really positive. You could throw, the hosts of those days, which I appreciate because I can relate to it. You could throw anything at them, even like the Dick Clarks and the others, and they'll take it and make something of it. They could wear many different hats, host a lot of different things, and make something great out of it. As opposed to right now, everything is very niche. You're only that. You can only do that, and you can only stay in that lane. Where those people before, you threw anything at them, and they made magic out of it.
And they did variety, which is what you do. I see all the different topics and the different kinds of guests that you have on. It's very exciting. You don't have Topo Gigio, but you have George Burns. So for those of you, do you know the mouse that was on
yes.
Topo Gigio?
And
also the little remember the Senor Wences?
Yes.
Little
That's
And
right. I remember. Yes.
so
And of
George
course,
Burns is perfect. You're bringing
George
the
Burns was,
tradition along.
and of course, then there was Kukla, Fran, and Ollie. Remember them? Yeah.
Yes.
Shari Lewis. And
Yes.
you don't see any of that anymore. You also don't see, I keep saying that, and thank God we were doing it. And I do the wearing of the masks. I said, if and when, we don't have to do that, God willing, anymore, all of us are going to be brilliant ventriloquists because we've been able to talk without our mouths moving, or at least we didn't see the mouths move.
I do. Now I talk to myself with the mask on. I don't normally talk to myself, but if I'm doing something and I'm nervous, I was doing that the other day. I said, okay, everything's going to be fine. And I could do it because no one could see because I had the mask on.
Anybody that says they don't talk to themselves is lying. Everybody talks to themselves.
Some
And it's
talk
actually,
too much to themselves, and I keep thinking they're talking to me and that I have to pay attention. So it makes me
especially if they walk by and they've got one of those little Bluetooth things, whatever, in their ear,
right.
and they're talking and there's nobody there. There was a day when you would see that and you'd be like, we might have to call somebody. They're talking to
Looney
themselves.
Tune, let's move a little away from them,
Exactly. Barbara, this was fantastic. Thanks for all of the beautiful time, this wonderful, authentic, real conversation. Wishing you nothing but continued joy and blessing. And we'll keep the porch light on for you. You're welcome back to our show anytime. Any final words about our show, the conversation, or anything you'd like to share before we wrap?
Just that I hope that for the new people that have come on, some of whom I brought on, I hope you're going to want to come back because obviously you see it's a great show. And thanks again. I really enjoyed it. And I wish you the best of luck always.
Thank you, Barbara. Absolutely. And people have asked me what I want to do with this show too. And there has been that thought. Some people have inquired about it too. There has been thought to bring it to television as well, because it's something where we're bringing, people have described, I said the word levity, and then the viewers said, okay, you're Mr. Levity. This is Levity Hall and all of that, which I think is beautiful. And then it was, I think, a couple of guests that said, you know what you're doing, Jim? I said, what are we doing? I'm doing what I do. They said, you're bringing back the lost art of conversation. That's what you're doing. And people need that and want that. And it's nurturing and it's connecting and it's relatable. So there is the thought inside of possibly bringing it to television at some point. So spread the word about our show, Barbara Garshman.
I told over 100 people to turn into the show.
Did you really? And that's just in the supermarket. Was that at Christie's?
That was in Jersey.
That was
I went over the river to
Jersey.
the other side.
Did you tell Did you tell the folks back home in Worcester?
Yeah, I have. I think I have family watching, and I'm, they don't live in Worcester. Family lives in Boston. They live in Baltimore, but nobody lives in Worcester anymore. But
yeah, they've gone to.
They live in Massachusetts.
In Massachusetts. Do you get back up to visit? Do you get back up to Matt? Do you go to the Cape at all, or?
I haven't been to the Cape in years, but I do see my cousins. I go to Boston. They live near Boston. I go to see them.
Very nice. Absolutely.
I love New England. I always will be a New Englander at heart.
New England is beautiful.
A
hat, right? That hat. Take my uncle from Duxbury, Massachusetts, would say Hatford. He'd say Hatford and Red Sox. Red Sox.
Yeah, the socks.
The socks.
Yeah. You can't park cars in Harvard Yard.
Right. No, you actually can't.
They always say park the car in Harvard Yard, but you can't park cars in Harvard Yard.
Exactly.
And with that,
exactly. Thanks so very much. I don't know if you still have your water there. You didn't even take a sip.
I took one sip.
Cheers to you. We always like to toast our illustrious guests on the Jim Masters Show. And thanks for
cheers to all of us. May we all be okay. Those listening, those talking, whatever. It's not an easy time. And I send all my good wishes and thoughts to everybody.
That's a beautiful way to conclude. We don't say goodbye. We say see you later. So we'll see you later, Barbara. Okay.
See you later, alligator.
Absolutely. And keep watching and enjoying the episodes. I appreciate you doing that as well.
I will. And I subscribed.
She subscribed. That's awesome. It takes a village, right? It takes a village, as we know.
Absolutely. We're all there for each other. That's how we succeed.
That's exactly what life should be about. We've been talking about that a lot on this series. Absolutely. Thanks for being with us, my friend. A real pleasure. You enjoy the rest of your day.
Separation anxiety now. Okay.
So now you're good, right?
Goodbye, Jim.
Oh, yeah. I know that's tough, isn't it? Are you a good goodbye? Are you a good goodbye person? You're good at. I'm not a good. I've never been a good goodbye person.
No, I mean I'm upset when I have to say goodbye to people, but I'm very demonstrative and whatever. I'm with.
I've learned to be. Yes, I've learned to be. You have to. You have to.
Because it's so special to even see people, or to, you know, to see like whole people, or even to see them. If we didn't have Zoom, imagine if we hadn't had Zoom and this had happened. I don't know how people got through the Spanish influenza with people. They had no way to communicate with each other. Anyway, that's a whole other story.
That's a whole other. Remember Zoom, the TV show, the kids show?
Zoom,
which came out of Boston.
Zoom. I was working for a production company when I first started in New York, and we did a whole special with the Zoom kids.
Zoom kids, right? My college roommate was one of the Zoom kids, Zoom guest. He was a Zoom guest, and now he's a sports writer in Boston. But yeah, Boston, Mass. 02134. The kids would sing that. Now we're talking PBS, folks. All right, Barbara, you're the best. What are you going to do now? That's what everybody wants to know. Are you going to have a sandwich?
Yes. Yes, I didn't eat that today because I was too nervous.
You were too nervous to eat. Oh, yes. Well, now you have earned a bountiful feast. I'm going to
sit outside at it, although it's sort of raining here. I'm going to go outside. Is it raining there? It's very gray, and it's supposed to rain. I don't know if it started yet. You're near the water, right? I don't know. You're lucky.
It's beautiful and sunny day, 70 degrees, no humidity.
Oh, well, perfect.
The West Coast, they're on fire over there. It's like 114 in Palm Springs, and we had a guest on the other night.
Texas too. It's like horrible.
Yeah, it's really. We had a guest in Northern California the other night, and it was like in the hundreds in Northern California. We're blessed here right now on the East Coast.
Well, I'm going to get off. I'm going.
Yes. You go, take care, make that sandwich. And thanks for being with us, Barbara. You're the best.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You did good. So you could sleep well tonight.
Amen.
Take care, Barbara.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Barbara Garshman. Wow. Amazing, right? Her first time ever doing this. And which I didn't realize. She only told me maybe about 2 minutes before we went live that she had never done this before. And, as far as a conversation like this, an interview scenario like this, she did well, didn't she? Yes, absolutely. It flowed, and she had a lot of fabulous stories to share with us. She was open, she was real, she was authentic. And we celebrate the book as much as we do her play and her epic career in television. And we sort of sprinkled a lot of, we weaved, as opposed to just saying, okay, let's just talk about the book or just talk about this. I like to weave stories and threads through it all. And if you realize when you watch and you listen, that it's all threaded together, that a lot of what she's done in her career it plays off each other. The various things that she's done in her life and her career, one thing plays off the experience and the passion for the other thing that she did, leading to the next thing. Very, very cool. Terrific person. Great conversation. And thanks again to everybody watching the show. We thank Barbara for joining us here and really sharing so much about You Can't Stop Me, this really spectacular book. Again, I have the copy here. She was kind enough to autograph it and read it twice. We'll probably read it again. 5-time Emmy-nominated television producer, writer, and author. She's worked, again, if you joined us late, she was director of primetime development, East Coast for the NBC television network, also a writer for ABC, and she's worked on some of your favorite soap operas over the years, Days of Our Lives, Another World, and of course, supervising producer for number of years on Guiding Light, garnered a number of fantastic Daytime Emmy nominations for her work as a supervising producer on that legendary soap opera, which is missed. Matter of fact, Days of Our Lives is still going strong. There's only a few left. What is left? We have Days of Our Lives. We have General Hospital. If you watch our show regularly, we've had several actors and actresses from the soap operas. Sean Kanan is a big fan of our show. He was with us recently. Justin Torkeldsen. Justin played Rick Forrester on The Bold and the Beautiful for years. He's now with Sean Kanan in Studio City as well. And they were Sean on General Hospital many years. Sean Kanan is now on The Bold and the Beautiful. Marian Alder from The Edge of Night was with us recently. We've had a lot of great guests. Carrie Gonzell, too. She was with us. And Steven Schnetzer, who played Cass on Another World. For years, he was on Another World. He was with us recently. What's really fascinating about it all, too, is, the time and attention that she puts into everything that she does. Like this book we're talking about started in 1997. There we are. You can't stop me. But, if you notice, there's a theme to this. It's really perfectly named also, not just for Vickie, the subject of the book, but for Barbara as well, because, doing what she's done in these industries is not easy. And as she said, also in those years being a woman, it was, not easy as well in the beginning. And on many levels, I'm sure that's one of the reasons why, too, that Barbara related so deeply to Vickie's story. They probably see elements of one another in their own stories as well, trudging through and doing what they love doing and making the most of it and inspiring people in such a glorious way. So really fantastic conversation here. And again, Afterburn, which I'm going to call the friend to see what we can do with that, and also with the book, because the book is really amazing. So make sure you get it. You can go to Amazon. You Can't Stop Me is the name of it. Really, really fantastic. And you got a chance to learn today a little bit about some of the process of making television as well, not just writing the book, but making television. And I love when we bring colleagues on from the television world, because I understand what they're talking about. One of the key things is to make everything look smooth and easy and effortless, because when we do this kind of work, whether it's radio, television, stage, film, any entertainment, it's to bring you in, and hopefully we capture you in some way, and you're inspired, or entertained, informed, educated, but to also, while doing that, cause you to forget about the chaos of the day, the negativity, and to help you sort of maybe look at your own life and say, hey, I can do that too. Or, maybe I will go try that thing that I put aside, because, during this pandemic, a lot of people have been doing that. I think I'm going to go do that thing, or finish that project, or take on that thing that I didn't get a chance to do. That's very empowering. This book is very empowering. Her career is empowering. I think what's really great about it too is you may be able to relate to it on certain levels with what you're doing in your life. And maybe Barbara's story, as well as Vickie's, have inspired you to take on something that you've always wanted to do that you didn't get a chance to try, or you've always been told you can't do. So Barbara didn't set out to go into television. She ended up in the classroom, and guess what? We're going to be talking television today. And look what happened. And then, of course, being a prolific and incredible writer too, to be able to tell stories in a way that's very connecting. I try to do that with my work on television and radio as well. Connecting to me, I'm very communal. So connecting with people is really important, and lifting them up. Gary's in Iowa, says, see you later, Jim, Barbara, and love it. It's good to see you, Gary, watching in Iowa. Kathleen Walker in New York City. Great show. Thank you, Jim. Thank you for being with us, Kathleen in New York City. Will, great show, Jim. Thank you, Will. You're now a Lovity, and I invite you to continue watching as well. Appreciate you being here and all your great comments and your passion for the show. Melissa Manchester is with us coming up today. She'll be with us at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific for those that are watching live. If you're watching this episode like 5 months from now, then this will have already happened. So you can just scroll back and binge watch in our archive of some 700 episodes of the Jim Masters Show series. But Melissa is with us today at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And Kayleen Peoples, former Miss California, acclaimed vocalist, musician, composer extraordinaire, is with us tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. She's extraordinary. Tony Orlando is with us on Tuesday, Grammy-nominated gold and platinum-selling music legend and entertainer. He's all excited. We're all excited. John Davidson is making a return visit to the show, legendary TV and game show host. He lives in New Hampshire. He created this fabulous intimate venue called Club Sandwich, which is located in central Sandwich, New Hampshire. We were there last 4th of July weekend to see him. And he brings in lots of great talent, and it's really fantastic. You know him from so many shows. Talk about somebody who you could throw anything at and he can make the best of it. He had his own talk show series, singer, actor. You can see him on so many television shows. I mean, Love American Style, Love Boat, you name it, and Hollywood Squares and so much more. So he's going to be with us as well. Barbara Brighton is going to be on July 13th. We wanted her yesterday, but one of her assistants fell ill who was assisting her. So we decided, she and I chatted, we decided it's best for her assistant to feel better. So she's going to be with us on July 13th. Legendary comedian, actress, singer, live from Las Vegas. And she does an incredible and is noted for her Joan Rivers impersonation, which is really amazing. So some epic guests coming up. Barbara Brighton will be with us as well. And one more time, we thank Barbara J Garshman for joining us here on the show. And we thank you for watching and supporting the Jim Masters Show Live. Don't forget, when the shows are live in the chat room, you can always do super chat, super emojis, super stickers. That's available in the chat room. And there's a little heart icon that's on our YouTube channel under every episode, little heart, and that is super thanks. Click on that. That helps support what we're doing here and all the work and all these episodes of our monster series that we call the Jim Masters Show Live. Let's check in with a few more of our fantastic viewers that are watching. And then we're going to have something to eat. We got to get ready for Melissa Manchester that's coming up as well. Juanita says, great conversation. Thanks, Jim. Thank you, Juanita. We appreciate that. Kathleen says, double lovity. Yes. And when we have 2 episodes in one day, like we do today, we call it double lovity. Catch you later. Have a good day. Thank you, Kathleen, as well. And everybody watching, we appreciate all these fabulous comments and really, really beautiful. Juanita, Jim, the master of great conversations. Thank you, Juanita. I really appreciate that. It's so beautiful as well. And Will says, so beautiful comment that came in from Will. Let's see if we can bring that one up. And thank you, Will. I appreciate that. Great show, Jim. And I think he said something like, keep telling those inspiring stories. Yeah, keep telling us inspirational stories, Barbara. Absolutely. You guys are great. We've got such a wonderful audience here that watches what we do here on the Jim Masters Show Live, entertainment, lifestyle, variety talk show series. If this was your first time experiencing what we do, we welcome you. If you missed anything in this episode, you can see it again, archived. You can see all the episodes archived right here on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. If you haven't subscribed yet, all you have to do is hit that red button, subscribe. That just lets us know you appreciate what we do here and all these episodes, all this content, hours and hours of content. And there's no cost for that. It also helps our channel grow when you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure if you do, click the notification bell so you don't miss any of the alerts. When you click the notification bell, little bell icon, you get alerts from us on all the episodes and what's coming up. Sometimes we do pop-up shows where I just pop up and I chat with the viewers live. Sometimes we've done on location. We did a whole 2-hour food show, a foodie show. We've done shows on holidays and themes. And when it was St. Patrick's Day, this whole studio was green and I was wearing a hat, and it was just really cool. We've done Christmas shows and anniversary episodes and birthday episodes, and extraordinary. Don't forget as well, if you enjoyed this episode, to give it a like. There's a little thumbs up icon on the YouTube channel. Give it a thumbs up, like, and leave a comment. Drop a comment on the YouTube channel as well. That helps us grow, because when you do that, YouTube sees that. They take the episode and they blast it out to even more people around the world. This is always a joy and a pleasure to be with all of you. We thank you so very much. We did a 2-year anniversary show recently, which was extraordinary. We had surprise guests, and we also had tributes that came in from so many of our previous guests. And just wanted to show you a couple more. If you missed them during the anniversary show, some kind words that some of our guests have said about the show.
Hey, this is Steven Sorrentino, actor, comedian, songwriter, weirdo, all that stuff. Did you ever just meet somebody and within 15 seconds you know that you kind of feel you know them your whole life? That's Jim Masters for me. When I got interviewed by Jim, I felt like I knew him and that we had grown up together. It was really a cool connection, and that's what Jim does, and that's why he's so successful. Congratulations, brother, on the amazing success that you have, and keep going as strong as you can. I'm a big fan, so keep it going. Everybody keep watching, and he's full of surprises. I like this Jim Masters guy. He's cool. Cool. Cheers, brother.
That was so kind of him. There were many, many more. I mentioned Sean Kanan, who's been on our show 3 times. You can see him now on The Bold and the Beautiful. But he was on General Hospital. He's also in Studio City as well.
Hey there, Jim. Greetings from Los Angeles. How are you, brother? Well, congratulations. 660 shows, your 2-year anniversary. What an amazing accomplishment. And you only have another 7,340 shows to go to catch up to Bold and the Beautiful. Just kidding. Well, actually, I'm not, but thank you so much for everything you do for so many people. You bring so much joy and happiness, levity to so many people. And thank you for having me as a guest. And I look forward to many more happy returns for both of us. All the best, pal.
He's really fantastic. Legendary musician and singer and performer from the Invisible Poet Kings. Barry Keenan was with us too. Talk about variety. And he expressed these kind words.
Hey, Jim, Barry Keenan here from Invisible Poet Kings. Congratulations on a successful 2-year run of your show. Peace. Looking forward to many, many more great shows to come from you. And I'd like to say hi to all your lovities and wishing you all the very best of all good things. Take care.
Appreciate that. Rob Dames has been responsible for so much soundtrack music, television themes extraordinaire. He's an epic composer and producer, and he was a guest on our show recently from his California home. And if you didn't see that episode, all of these guests, you can see their episodes on our YouTube channel, but he is a television veteran extraordinaire and is responsible for so much TV music and film music and lots more. And he was kind enough to say this.
Hi, I'm Rob Dames, and I had the interview of being interviewed on Jim Masters TV. Now Jim is celebrating 2 years of success. Well deserved. I certainly enjoyed my time being interviewed, and you made me sound good. And that's more your interviewing skills than anything I had to say. But I'm equally honored to be singled out to talk about... What? 660? You mean there were 659 people before me? Well, that takes the bloom off of things, doesn't it? Still, congratulations. Continued success. I'm going to have a drink.
And now somewhere around like 700. Actor and singer DC Anderson was with us recently too.
Hey, Jim, it's DC Anderson. I would like to congratulate you on 2 years and to thank you for your interest in people and your willingness to share people. Hello, the people that you interview, share that with others. Keep going. Have another great 2 years, at least. Bye.
So kind of him to say that. And he was a fantastic guest. Remember when epic musician David Becker was with us, and he actually wanted to make sure he got in for the anniversary show. And he was in the airport in Barcelona because he was coming back from Spain, and he wanted to make sure that he got a tribute video to us. That is what you call levity.
Hey everybody, it's David Becker, and I'm coming to you from Barcelona Airport. I want to give a shout out to Jim Masters and say congratulations, Jim, on your 2nd anniversary of the Jim Masters Show Live. It was a great pleasure and honor to be a guest on your show. I look forward to the next time. Take care.
Can you imagine that? From the actual airport, he made sure he did that. That was very kind of him as well. So many. If you missed any of them, you could see them during the course of the archived episode of our fantastic 2-year anniversary. Another great actor and dear friend, Mel England, was with us. He had these words.
Happy anniversary, Jim Masters and the Jim Masters Show! Oh my God, 2 years. That's insane. That's insane. You know what? I've been following your journey since we met, years ago at the premiere of Ron and Laura Take Back America. And it's, you've had this insane career and you look like you're 12 and, but you've got this career that's gone on for like 5,000 years and you have just done like 655 of these shows. Like, I don't even know how you do it. Plus, you give these interviews that are just amazing. They're so, like, number one, you do so much research. It's obvious that you really care. And that is really, I have to say, one of the best interviews of my life. And I was so grateful and happy to see your interview with my friend Sally Kirkland. I think, she's a brilliant, Oscar-nominated, Golden Globe-winning actress, and you are so wonderful with everybody. And I just want to say thank you so much, Jim, for the quality of work that you do. Obviously, I'm just shooting something in my car, but you really pull it in, and I just wanted to get this to you while I had time. I'm on the road, in a parking lot, outside of a Costco somewhere. It's a long story, but I really, congratulations. Here's the 6,555 more, whatever that means. Somebody do the math. Anyway, congrats, Jim. Keep it up.
6,000 more. I'll have to get a new chair. Gang, thanks so much for being with us. I'll throw one more in. Sam Quasman is an extraordinary voiceover talent, animated characters. He was on the Bob Newhart show, prolific actor. He's been on our show twice. He's a fantastic person, very funny as well. If you didn't see the episodes he was on, he was extraordinary. We had so many laughs. He did all kinds of voices, and he's the voice of Tweety, and he's just really a great guy. He said this.
Well, let me think. This must be the Jim Masters Show. I got to tell you, Jim has got to be one of the greatest interviewers I've ever had the chance to work with. He's really, really good at what he does, let me tell you. So I want to wish you a very happy anniversary, and I'm thrilled to be on your show. Call me anytime. I'm just showing off my cartoons in the background there. There's my Bullwinkle and all that. Anyway.
Oh, very, very good. Happy anniversary, Jim. Oh.
Take it easy. Hope to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Wasn't that cool? He's the best. We appreciate him. We'll have him back as well. Gang, you're the best as well. Thank you so much for all the time and the attention. We're going to wrap up. For those that are not watching live, you're watching this, as we say, Memorex. You're watching it in the archives. Stay right here. There's another fabulous episode for you to enjoy that you can binge watch of the Jim Masters Show Live series. Otherwise, for those watching live, we'll be back at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific with Melissa Manchester. Till then, for all of us, thanks for watching this episode of the Jim Masters Show Live series. We appreciate all of you. And be well. Take care of one another. We don't say goodbye. We say see you later. Sláinte, ciao, cheers, hasta la vista. What else do we say? Shalom, sayonara, and all the rest. So thanks for being with us. You guys are the very, very best. And thank you very much for these comments that have been coming in throughout the show. We really, really appreciate that. I'm glad you have a chair. I don't think you did when you started this. I think I went back and forth between standing and a chair. I think I went back and forth a little bit. But yeah, we got a nice leather chair that sort of you sink in. That's what I'm sitting in right now, gang. All right. We'll see you soon, okay? Thanks for being with us. And we send you lots of levity from us here at the Jim Masters Show Live series. And it's time to eat. We'll see you guys soon, all right? Be well. Take care of one another. Be good to one another. Love one another. And share the empathy, the kindness, and the levity whenever you can. The world really needs it. You guys be well. We'll see you again on the next one, okay? Thanks for watching this episode of the Jim Masters Show Live. Cheers.